Hi, everybody. Welcome back to QueueTimes. I am your keeper, Sam Richardson, and you're joining us for a little bit of a special thing. We are doing a Hiatus and Handlebars episode. So normally this space would be occupied by a show called Hijinks and Handlebars. William White is the GM of that, but they and Jonas Newhouse, one of our other players, are currently on tour with their band, Glass Beach Band. In fact, they're playing a show in Seattle tonight. In fact, maybe like right now. They're wonderful. You should go check them out. You should go check out every other episode of this show. It's amazing. I am also on that one, so if I can, and so is Franny. So if I can toot our horns real quick.
Too loud.
We're wonderful. William's wonderful. They tell an amazing story. They're one of the most talented storytellers that I know. So go check that out. Those are all in a playlist called Hijinks and Handlebars on the QueueTimes main YouTube channel, which you can access by typing in bit.ly/handlestream with a capital H and a capital S. But as I said, we're doing something a little bit different tonight. We are going to be playing a game called Monster of the Week, which was created by Michael Sands and published by Evil Hat Productions. It is a little bit more Buffy, Supernatural, X-Files, that kind of thing. So if that's your jam, come enjoy the session tonight. And Hijinks Handlebars will be back, I believe, next week with a new episode. So in the meantime, let me introduce my wonderful players and then we can get started.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Jennings. I use they, them pronouns. I will be playing the Flake playbook tonight, and my character's name is Magnus LeBear.
Sweet.
I'm Franny Morrison, she, her. My character is Gillis Anderson, also she, her, and she is the pararomantic.
Hi, I'm Starlene Hodge, she, her. I will be playing the mundane tonight. My character is Bismarck St. Rose. Bismarck St. Rose, and he goes by Bix.
Sweet. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to hop right in. Quick thank you to everyone who makes this stream possible. QueueTimes, Jake and Lauren especially, behind the scenes. They make everything you see happen. So if you like this show, go check them out. Go check out Game Gorgon on their YouTube channel as well. Go check out some of the other shows. There's a show called Clear Skies that just started. It's a Star Trek show. So if you like Star Trek, that might be something you look into. Okay. Let's get started. On August 15th, 1938, William Fraser, then the Chief Constable of Inverness Shire in Scotland, wrote to the Under-Secretary of State on a matter he considered of vital importance, the protection of the creature residing in Loch Ness. In the letter, he describes a constable of his meeting a couple named Peter Kent and Marion Sterling, two Londoners who had told the constable about their plan to capture the Loch Ness creature with a specially made harpoon gun. That there is some creature in Loch Ness now seems without doubt, wrote William. But that the police have any power to protect it is very doubtful. If you have any suggestion to make or you can offer any guidance in this matter, I shall be most grateful. That is where his letter ends. And no evidence of a reply has been saved to the public record. For good reason. The Under-Secretary of Scotland did, in fact, have a suggestion. He wrote in a follow-up letter, Sir, I should like to refer you to your letter dated 15 August 1938 of our ongoing correspondence. It is a strange confluence of events that I should have received your letter today. In fact, I have just returned this eve from a visit to the coast, where I made the acquaintance of several individuals who may be of service to you in this matter. They claim to understand curious creatures such as yours, and are currently engaged in proving the existence of the mythical Selkie population on our coastline. I shall make inquiries of them, and will write again should they agree to provide any assistance. Obviously, that assistance would be clandestine in nature. A typewriter echoes off of hardwood floors and stone walls of a large official foyer. At one side is a large wooden door with a burnished placard that reads Chief Constable. A typewriter dings as the woman behind it resets the page to the other side and continues on her way. She glances up briefly over a pair of prim, half-lens reading glasses at the man sitting across the room, nervously bouncing his knee in one of the chairs set out for guests. He catches her looking, and she quickly averts her eyes, giving her typewriter a tight smile that might have been for him if she could stand looking into his eyes directly. There was something intense about them, something that made a frigid shiver pass down her spine as she throws herself back into her typing. "He'll be out any moment," she says without looking up, and as if on cue, the large wooden door swings open. A large, clean-shaven man in a double-button coat and slacks strides out into the entryway and stops dead in his tracks when he sees the man sitting in the chair beside the door. "Yes, Magnus, I assume? What does he see?"
He sees a younger man, long, shaggy, bright orange hair, lots of freckles, big round glasses with like a small crack going down one of them, large, like dark gray scarf, kind of almost covering his face a little bit, dressed relatively nicely, but the clothes don't quite fit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, follow me. And he beckons you towards his office.
Absolutely.
You two enter, and he closes the door behind you, kind of like checking to make sure that the secretary is minding her own business, and offers you the chair across from his desk.
Sits.
He sort of like slumps into the other side. He says, "Well, I assume that you are here on the Undersecretary's reference."
Aye.
So you know about the creature in Loch Ness?
Aye.
I heard that you could help us. I mean, I have to say I'm a little out of my depth with these sort of things. What do you know of these kinds of creatures?
Well, Selkies, I know much more about, but the creatures of the Loch Ness, you see many secrets and things of it. It seems like it's sort of not an unkind creature. I see. I haven't done much more studying, but I'm happy to learn more.
I'm specifically concerned with the visiting populations. I would be remiss if I didn't worry for the creature's safety from tourists and the like.
Aye. People are more harmful than monsters, I find.
Well, I don't know about that. But would you mind? I can have a constable drive you just down the road. We're not far from Loch Ness now.
All right.
And he sort of, I think he goes to the door, and opens it slightly and turns to the secretary. He's like, "Shelley, would you bring up a Constable Peter?" And she kind of like scurries away after someone else. He closes the door and he says, "Not that I don't trust you, of course, but you know we can't go to the press really with any of this."
I've been doing this for years. I know the press don't need to know anything.
Okay. Good.
Aye.
And he sticks his hand out. "It's a pleasure, Magnus."
It was a very jerky, yes, pleasure.
And a young constable kind of like runs up the stairs and he's like, "Hey, yes, you're the one driving to Loch Ness, right?"
Aye, you're very sweaty.
Yeah, it's sort of what. Yeah.
Okay.
The car's just outside.
Well, then let's go. Why are we sitting here talking?
Okay. And he runs back down the stairs. "Are you coming?"
Yes, I'm right behind you.
Okay, all right.
Strange.
Stark brick buildings line the cobblestone roads of Inverness, winding through long stretches of overcast sky. People hurry along the sides of the road, clutching briefcases, hats, and dark wool coats. The rain is a part of the culture here. It could begin or end at any moment, and the people on the sidewalks have learned long ago that worrying about the weather was more trouble than it was worth. So they keep their eyes ahead, umbrellas tucked firmly under one arm, trundling or strolling or sprinting as their upcoming engagements require, without so much as a single glance at the sky. Everyone has somewhere to be. everyone except one man, who's currently unclasping a black instrument case. He looks up, squinting at the clouds, then pulling out a beautiful, polished golden trumpet, he begins to play. Heads begin to turn, marveling at the notes that sweep across the cobblestones. What do they see?
They see Big St. Rose. He's standing on the side. He has his case out, hoping to collect a little extra coin for his trouble. And he's just wants to kind of entertain as he's going around. He's a black man with his hair is well kept. He wears a white shirt with the suspenders. He wears a hat. His jacket is off to the side because he wants to be loose and relax as he plays. And he's just kind of happy to be somewhere new.
I think, yeah, I don't think a lot of people in Scotland play the trumpet. So I think as you're kind of playing that, this group is like kind of gathering around. There's like a few kids that run up and they're kind of like watching you play.
As he's playing, he's looking and he's smiling and he's just going for it.
Sweet. I think like you actually start to get. Actually, you know what? Why don't you roll me our first roll of the game? Roll me manipulate someone. So
6.
Roll both d6s.
2.
And then
4.
4. Okay. So I think then with a 4 on manipulate someone, that is a failure. So mark experience. So the way this game works is that there are only ever 2d6 that you roll. A 10 or above is a complete success. A 7 to 9 is a mixed success where something good and something bad tend to happen. And anything a 6 or below is a failure. And that means something bad happens or you don't achieve what you set out to do. And you mark experience, which can then be used to level up and gain additional powers and skills and things like that. So I think you maintain the crowd's attention for a while with a 4, but I think people start to peel off one by one. They look at their watches and they're like, oh, I'm already late. And one man steps off. The kids kind of like, start distracting each other and run off towards the stream. And it seems like the crowd has begun to dissipate.
This isn't a good spot.
Yeah. There is 2 people that have sort of like stuck around. They were kind of hanging out towards the back of this group. Mm-hmm. But as everyone starts to kind of peel away, they're kind of revealed. And they look a little bit out of place. One of them is like a very tall, very skinny man he has sort of like a long coat on. And the other one is a woman with this like shock of like fiery red hair that's like trimmed very short. And they kind of are watching you from a little bit of a distance. They don't seem to be like actively enjoying the music, but they are like interested in you.
I think Bix is pretty used to people staring at him wherever he goes. And he's just keeps a smile on his face, always wants to be friendly, does not want to arise any troublemakers. But he keeps an eye out, but realizing that maybe this isn't a good spot for him, he starts to pack away his stuff.
Okay.
And puts on his jacket.
Yeah.
And maybe goes up a couple blocks trying to see if there's somewhere else to explore.
I think as you start packing up your stuff, the man sort of like approaches you. He's like, "Oh, hey, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression." Oh. He has a pretty thick British accent, which is a little out of place in Scotland. Not entirely, but it's very like posh British, which
His
is not
accent's
something
more common than mine.
Yeah. Which is not something I'm going to try to emulate here because that is not a skill set of mine. Pretty much anyone who I introduce in this one shot will be speaking their regional dialect. So if they're Scottish, they'll be speaking Scottish English, unless I clarify otherwise. So he walks up to you and he says, "Oh yeah, I didn't mean to scare you off. Me and my lady, we were just enjoying the music here."
Oh, well, if you're going to enjoy the music, Where our band's playing tonight over down by the what was that name of that bar again? I think it was called the Pig's Toe, the Hog's Toe.
The Hog's Toe. Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. I think that's over. He kind of nudges this woman who's kind of like walked up next to him, and says, "I think that's over where we're staying." And she kind of just like gives him this like big nod.
Great! Then that means we'll get to see you tonight. You get to listen to our big brass band. I'm obviously the trumpet player, but we have all sorts of music, and it's going to be a delight. We're so excited to be in Scotland.
Oh, well, yeah. You know, if we were going to be back tonight.
Oh. Well.
We're headed up to the loch.
The loch?
The Loch Ness.
The Loch Ness?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. What?
It's beautiful. It's a huge lake out just south of Inverness, actually, not far at all.
Really?
Yeah. If you'd like, you could tag along.
What? How far is it again?
It's not far. You could be back in time for your performance.
You know what? Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay. Well, we were just on our way to our car. Our driver. He drove us all the way from Glasgow.
Oh, you're fancy.
Yeah. And they kind of like lead you back towards the Hogstow, like sort of into a hotel kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, there is a black car just sitting out front with a man in the driver's seat.
Well, they weren't kidding.
It has a huge, like, what looks like a big wooden box tied on the back. Like, it looks like some kind of, like, luggage or something. And it's just, like, mounted. There's, like, ropes going every which way, like, attaching it to this thing.
Do y'all play in a band, too? Because this looks like very similar to what we carry all the time.
The man kind of, like, turns to his wife. There's, like, a sort of, like, sly smile exchange. And he says, "Oh no, we do a lot of fishing."
Oh, okay. So, you say there's a lot of people around the loch hanging about?
I wouldn't say a lot, but certainly there's plenty of towns. You could go all the way up around the loch, and in fact, if you went down to Fort Augustus, there's plenty of people down there. Probably don't get a whole lot of trumpet playing down there either.
That might be a good idea. Yeah, I'm still interested. Let's go. I want to go see.
Why don't you roll me something real quick? Not about these people in particular, but about the person sitting in the driver's seat. Why don't you roll read a bad situation?
6 plus 5, 11.
That's awesome. Okay, so read a bad situation on a 10 plus. You get to hold 3. So you can ask 3 of these questions. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
Okay, what's most vulnerable to me?
Yeah, I think as you climb into this car, you sort of catch a glimpse of the driver as he readjusts the rear view window.
Mm-hmm.
Or the rearview mirror, I should say. He looks odd. Like his skin is just hanging off of him.
Interesting.
He looks extremely pale, even paler than everyone else in Scotland, which is a stretch. And he just kind of has these like bloodshot eyes. He is avoiding eye contact with not only you, but also the couple who are climbing into the car.
Okay. And then I guess I could ask 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
What's my best way out?
You can totally get out of the car right now. It doesn't look like there's any, like, it doesn't seem to you right now that he would try to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get moving in the vehicle, it might be harder to like, get out of there.
And are there any dangers I haven't noticed?
Yeah. So I think he kind of shifts his shoulders a little bit as he's kind of like settling into the seat. He's this huge guy. Like he barely fits inside this vehicle. If you're trying to have a mental image, try to picture Boris Karloff's Frankenstein,
Okay.
but with a big salt and pepper beard. And he kind of shifts in his seat, and as he kind of brushes his hip, you see, sure enough, there is a revolver on his hip.
Okay. I make sure that in my coat, I still have my small handgun just ready.
Great.
You always got to be safe.
The other two climb in behind you, and the man says, "Oh, I can't believe we haven't even introduced ourselves. I'm Peter."
Hi, Peter. I'm Bismarck.
And my partner here, this is Marion.
Hi, Miriam. I'm Bix.
And then, as the car drives away, you see a young woman standing in a stream. It's a stream that runs along the cobblestones, remnants of last night's rain. The woman that walks along the stream kicks a stone as she goes, and as she does, her fingers twirl lightly against her side. The stream beneath her feet begins to twirl in a similar fashion, twisting and curving back on itself against its own current. She's too distracted to notice the man in front of her before she bumps directly into him. He turns just as the water falls back into the stream, now perfectly calm and placid. What does the man see?
He sees Gillis Anderson, who is quite petite for her age. She's 24, and she has strawberry, blondish, reddish hair, cut short, and dressed similar to how I am, boyish, stereotypically. And she has her pant legs hiked up, being in the water. She looks rather disheveled. Oi!
Oh,
sorry.
I'm so sorry, miss. And sure enough, as you look up, you see Constable Peter, who is leading you outside, has just reached the street. And you stumble down the stairs behind him. And he says, "Oh, so sorry. We're in a bit of a rush.
Why are you running into people?
Sorry. It's I'm sweaty. I don't know.
I think you need to take a breath.
Okay.
Sorry about him. He's new.
No problem.
Actually, I don't know if you're new. You seem new.
I'm pretty new. I would say new is the word to describe what I am. Shall we?
Hi.
I'm so sorry. Can we give you a ride? I feel terrible bumping into you.
No.
Is there somewhere? Can we give you a ride somewhere? Or
No, I didn't need a ride. I'm fine.
okay. Magnus,
Yes.
why don't you roll me plus sharp?
6.
6. Okay. This woman in front of you, as petite as she may be, has a little bit of an aura to her. There's something about her that you cannot place, but you have no idea what it is. You have just absolutely no clue. Make sure to mark experience.
Yeah.
Have I noticed Magnus looking at me?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely just directly dead staring. Not subtly at all.
Gillis kind of goes back to her. Sorry, I am busy. I'm kind of working on... I'm just doing some research here in the pond. I know it's strange. I go to the school. You don't need to know that. Can I help you with anything?
You're strange.
I've gotten that before, yeah.
No, I mean you're strange.
Sure. I don't reckon I know what you mean.
I'm gonna go pull the car around, and I'll be back. And Peter runs off down the alleyway.
Gillis has gotten out. She has what do you call them? The things that the test, or she's collecting samples
Okay.
of the water and different algae.
What are you doing?
I'm just I'm collecting some. I'm doing some research on the water quality here, and just for class.
Gillis, do you want to roll me... Actually, no. I don't even think you need to roll me this. I think you are familiar enough with it that you just see it happen. tendril of that water, the kind of stream that you were just walking through, starts like twirling up, just like almost in the shape of like a finger or something. If you didn't know better, and you see it, you're not sure if Magnus has yet.
I quickly kind of move to break that water up.
Okay.
Like this right here. I hold up like a leaf that had just fallen into the. This is a leaf, obviously, that fell from.
Yes, it's a leaf.
But I mean, you never know, so I'm just gonna pop it right in there in case the water contaminated it. You know.
Contaminated it with what?
Well, that I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So.
What class is this for again?
It's the basic marine biology and biology. Yeah.
Aye.
Magnus, this feels like an appropriate time. If you'd like to investigate a mystery,
Yeah.
you are welcome to do that.
9.
9. Okay, so on a 7 to 9, you can hold 1. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here?
I feel like what is being concealed here feels appropriate.
Sure. I'm not going to answer this. Franny, what would give away something about your relationship with this water?
I mean, maybe there are stains that I have
Okay.
on my clothes that could be like they're water stains, and so maybe it's clear that I'm just here all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So I think, Magnus, you noticed those. I think, in fact, it actually reminds you of some researchers that you were spending some time with before coming to Inverness. People that were researching selkies. They had similar, but not exactly the same, water stains on them, just from kind of interacting with the creatures, and also just from spending so much damn time in the water. I don't know if it is necessarily something that you would point to as being supernatural, but it definitely feels familiar. So, Bix. You are trundling along in this old car. These roads are paved, but they're not very well kept up. And this car is from the 1910s or 1920s.
Oh.
So there's not a whole lot of suspension. So it's a lot of up and down. And Peter turns to you and says, "So yeah, we're just staying at a friend of ours got a house down here, and he just kind of offered it up. Just said we could just take up residence for the weekend. It's like it's gonna be a great time."
That's pretty lucky for y'all.
Yeah, if you and the band wanted to come down after the show, you're welcome to join us. We're probably gonna have some pretty special news coming up here shortly, and might be a good time to get some press.
Well, I'd have to ask the boys, but honestly, they're probably only gonna come if we get paid to go. But because we do have a tour that we have to be on, and we think we only have like maybe 3 days.
I can't place your accent. You're not from Scotland.
No, I'm originally from Trinidad.
Trinidad.
Yeah.
Wow.
But my family, a bunch of my cousins, we moved to New Orleans, and when I was
America.
Yeah.
I've
I was
always
like
wanted to visit America.
15-ish. And I stayed with my cousins there, and just being in town, I saw everybody playing all these beautiful instruments,
Wow.
and I knew I had to get my start with that.
Wow.
And it kind of opened up a lot for me. I'm in this band now, and then we've been traveling the U.S., and then we got an invite to go to Scotland and tour here.
Wow.
So here I am. I just want to see everything.
You've lived quite a life.
Yeah, I tried.
Peter turns to his wife and she's like, he's like, "Did you hear all of that? I mean, this person has been everywhere." And his wife is just kind of staring out the window. And as he kind of like turns to say this to her, she turns back and she just goes, And then she turns back to look at the loch.
Sorry if my story's not that interesting, but
the
views are pretty nice out here.
Oh,
so
aren't they
understand.
beautiful? They're beautiful. Don't mind her. She's she's focused. That's one way to describe it.
Oh, well, I mean, it is a beautiful lake, but is there, it just seems kind of nice.
Yeah, it's...
But is there like any particular fish y'all are looking for or something, or?
Yes, a particular kind of fish.
Okay. Well, I'm always down to try something new. I've eaten plenty of catfish, so...
A fish dinner would be an extravagant an extravagant ending to this weekend. Perhaps, once the band has played, we'll invite you back to the mansion and we can have that fish dinner, right, honey? And he kind of bumps her again, and she just doesn't even respond this time.
I think at this point he kind of reflexively kind of touches his ring on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like his lucky charm.
Okay.
He's a little nervous.
Yeah.
But also determined to go with the flow.
Cool.
Just because literally a fish out of water here.
Yeah,
so he's just kind of like, well, this is how people act here.
Peter kind of like points down the road a ways, and just coming out around the corner. I think y'all have been driving for probably an hour or so. And just coming out around the corner is this little small town. And he says, "That's Foyer. That's where we're staying." And continues down the road. Magnus, you have just arrived outside of the car. Peter kind of like brought it around, and he kind of like opens the door and turns to you and says, "Are you sure there's..." The engine's kind of like running behind him. "Are you sure there's not anything I can do for you? I feel so bad. I knocked you into the stream.
No,
and
don't feel bad.
I feel terrible."
We're going to a lake if you like to look at water.
Which lake?
The loch.
The Loch Ness.
Are you? I think I will. May I get some of my things?
Well, yeah, of course. Yes. I mean, I know you're sort of on a time sensitive with the constable,
well,
but I'm
you
sure we have
almost run her
time.
over, so let's just...
Yeah, we have time.
It'll only take a minute. I promise.
Okay.
Gillis.
Climb in.
Well, no, I got to get my things from...
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It'll be 10 minutes, I swear. I'm just down the road.
He just turns off the car, and he's like, "I'll wait right here. We're not moving an inch from this spot." Sorry. Anyway.
Very awkwardly, Gillis, who is actually quite excited at the moment now, she's like hopping out of the lake, and she's like bringing her pant legs down, and she's like, I will. I'll be right. And she just like keeps bumbling away as she goes down the road. Comes back 10 minutes later with a bag and a few more samples and just like supplies. Thanks for
And
waiting.
that's why it's so important to keep your uniform proper.
You're rather boring.
Everyone tells me that.
Maybe you should find some hobbies that aren't pressing your uniform.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Just as you knock on the door. Climb in! And
Thanks.
you set off towards Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Magnus, what have you learned so far about this thing? You were given a briefing before you came down here from the people that you work with.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically those researchers who were studying the Selkie population.
Yeah.
What did they tell you anything in particular, or was it just kind of like, go look at this?
Well, we've done a lot of rundown on Selkies. We haven't done a whole lot of rundown on a Loch Ness, but I assume it's from the tales that I've heard of different myths and such, that they're relatively like elusive creature.
Yeah.
Pretty large, but it hasn't hurt anybody specifically.
I think it has been all over the newspapers lately, especially, there was a photograph that was published a couple of years ago that sort of the press just ran with, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is like this is there's a monster living in this lake. Like, what are we gonna do? And I think that is maybe what got the people that you work with's attention.
Yeah.
And so when they got that letter from the undersecretary, they were kind of like, well, we're tied up in this, but you're new, right? You could go down there and investigate.
Yeah. I didn't really say yes. I just kind of was like, all right.
You just went?
Yeah, I just went.
Okay, great. Here's where I would like to cut to then, if everyone's comfortable with it. I want to cut to that night in the town of Foyer. Or I guess you have to be back in time for the performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that afternoon in the town of Foyer. This is sort of where the constable has driven you down to. He has heard that this is where the most recent sighting was, and if you were to try to like look for this thing, this would be where the first place to start, essentially. Mm-hmm. As you are driving along, Gillis, the water, as you pass each river and stream, you just start to see just like little things like out of the water, almost like a fish jumping out of the water, but it's just kind of like at every little stream and river you pass. It seems to kind of be following the car to some degree.
Gillis kind of checks outside. How did the clouds look? Is it like clear skies or? It's
pretty cloudy. Okay. It looks like it could rain. There hasn't really been a forecast for rain, but it could rain at any minute.
I think Gillis kind of, as they're bumping along, closes her eyes to see if she can hear or get a sense of anything.
Sure.
Can I roll for that?
Yeah, so I think that is a move, right? That you are spending time with your monster?
All right, like spirit touched?
Yeah.
I'm sensitive to the supernatural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will you read out exactly what that says since this is the first time you're using it?
Spirit touched. Your experiences have made you sensitive to the supernatural. When you sense magical things, roll plus weird. On a 10 plus, you can sense them fully. On a 7 to 9, choose either sense them fully, but they notice you too, or you sense only impressions.
Cool.
Okay. 8.
Okay, so 7 to 9, you sense them and they sense you too? Or
sense only impressions.
Which one do you choose?
They can notice me too.
Okay. You definitely get a read on this thing that seems to be following you. It is the Kelpie. It is keeping pace with the car, kind of like going through rivers and streams. It doesn't like being very far away from you if it can avoid it. So it has just kind of been, tracking down the car. I don't know how many long or even short distance car rides you've been on, but you may have noticed similar things in the past, depending on how much you were watching outside.
Okay, I think Gillis is just going to take notice of this, and I think as soon as they get out of the car and get close to the water, she's going to have to find some way to communicate to the Kelpie that she just wants him to stay hidden, out of sight. Yeah.
The other thing you notice is Magnus. Magnus is a well of something. There is something that is going on with him that seems to just be like it is definitely not the same kind of thing that is going on with your Kelpie, but there's some sort of magic going on with him.
Is Magnus looking at me, or I just take notice of them?
I don't know. Magnus, are you looking out the windows? Or?
Magnus is playing with the scarf, like putting it over his face and then kind of putting it back down and then like putting it in a weird knot, and then it gets frustrated and like starts to choke him a little and he undoes it.
Then I think next time you happen to glance up, you see Gillis looking at you.
And then I immediately do this as well. I'm just like, nice drive.
Aye.
Yeah.
It's a nice scarf.
Yours too.
Thanks.
Did your gram make it?
No, I bought it.
Oh, my.
I don't have a gran.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright.
I won't for too much longer, so.
Aye. Grans tend to die.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, grands.
The driver just in the front of the seat is just like, oh, nice weather we're having.
It's
No,
very
we're not.
cloudy.
It's quite dark.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not from around here? Are you?
Lived here
Have
my
you
whole
ever
life.
seen the sun?
Lived here my whole entire life.
This
I'm
one's
just struggling today. I don't know what it is.
You should probably get that looked at.
Yeah, I think I need to see a doctor. I think I need to see... Anyway.
Do you have any chocolate?
Chocolate! And I think he, like, reaches into the glove compartment at the same time that another car comes around the bend. And he is not seeing...
Oi! Oi!
Why don't you roll me act under pressure?
We gon' die.
8.
Eight. So, act under pressure on a 7 to 9. The keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. So, I think that the price to pay for this is that you grab his shoulder and like wrench him back into the seat, but the wheels of the car slip off the edge of the road as he corrects more than enough out of the way of this car. And the car is starting to like topple, like it's not gonna flip quite yet, but it is like off the road a little ways. And there's just nothing but, relatively steep hillside all the way down to the loch below.
Is there anything I can do to maybe like maneuver myself out of the back seat into the front to like get it back on track?
Yeah, I think you can certainly try that. You want to roll me another act under pressure to make that move?
Yes.
Magnus, is there something that you're going to try to do as well?
Yeah. I think, seeing what that's happening, I'm probably also going to kind of, because I'm probably behind, I'm going to kind of just, like, reach around and just, like, try and,
yank the wheel yourself? Cool. Why don't you roll me an act under pressure as well?
10.
10. Okay. So Magnus reaches into the front seat and yanks the wheel forward just in time to get the wheel back on the road, just as you climb into the front seat and prop this guy up into his position. The car like swerves, but you are back on the road now beyond that other car, and you see you hear like some kind of snap as you see the engine start to smoke a little bit.
Perhaps we should stop?
Yes, I'm stopping immediately, and just slams on the brakes.
Are you drunk?
Oh,
Have you never driven a car before?
it's my first time.
Oh my god.
I thought it would be easier.
Well, the car looks like it's going to explode, so maybe we should get out of it.
Okay, okay. You climb out of the car and walk over to the edge of this sort of like mountainous road alongside the loch here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the constable put me in charge of this, and now I'm oh no. What if those cars are so expensive? Oh.
Well, it's certainly probably going to come out of your paycheck.
Oh God, my paycheck is small enough already.
What was your name?
Peter.
Oh, Peter. Well, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't going to be too bad, so don't beat yourself up.
I'm pretty worried. The car is smoking on fire over there.
But, at least maybe you'll have a career change, and then...
Career change, not into driving.
No.
I'll be doing something that doesn't involve driving.
Perhaps when someone asks you to drive someone somewhere, you just say, hey, I don't know how to drive.
Well, it was a direct call from the constable. I just figured I'd figure it out.
What made us crash anyway?
Oh, I don't know. And he looks behind him, and that other car is just like trundling away. And then it stops. After it sees that your car has stopped, it like stops and turns around and starts headed back towards you. And you see, sitting in the driver's seat, a huge-looking figure. It is that same Boris Karloff with the beard-looking figure that was the driver for Bix and the other two.
You all right then?
I'll be okay for now. Should we ask for a ride?
Well, we're certainly not getting anywhere with this one.
I suppose. Oh boy. Bix.
Y'all all right?
You have been dropped off at
I've been dropped off.
Yeah, you and and Peter and Marion have been dropped off in the town of Foyers. All right, and let me double check my notes here.
It sounds right.
I believe that is correct. Yes, the town of Foyers. At this old house, it looks like it was kind of like built and then built, and then built, and then built, and then built, and then built. Like it just someone kept adding pieces to it. And Peter kind of is talking to you. Will you roll me plus sharp?
5.
Okay. Then Peter says, oh yeah, so our good friend just loaned us the house for a while. And Marion has...
Quick question.
Yes.
As you said Peter, is this the same? It's not the driver.
Different Peters.
They're different Peters.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Peter Constable, and this is Peter the one who offered you a ride, who is
Okay.
not a constable.
Peter.
It is Scotland.
This is like a Martin Marty situation.
So he kind of like leads you up, and I think he says, "Oh, and look at the loch," and you just hear a sharp sound behind you, and then Marion says, "Oh, this way," and she opens the door to a mansion. It's beautiful. It's dusty. There are big sheets over most of the furniture. Most of the walls are painted in some fashion, either like a red or a black or something of that nature. And Peter kind of like walks in with his arms wide and says, "Well, I think this will do. Am I right?"
This ain't so bad. Not bad at all.
He says, "Well, I have to say, it was such a pleasure running into you. I feel like, I love my wife, my partner. Don't get me wrong, but she's not a great conversationalist. You made the trip down here a pleasure. A pleasure. Thanks."
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I would love to explore your house, but I'm also interested in exploring the town.
Of course. Feel free. We will be here if you would like to come back and join us at any point. We're going fishing later, so if you want to be part of that, be back up at the house. We're going to head down to the water. We've got some special fishing equipment that we'd like to try out. And he just kind of looks out the window at that big, like, wooden pallet box that has just been set outside by the driver before he drove away.
I mean, I'd love to see some new techniques.
Yes, of course. It's a new technique for sure. You are all kind of like settling into this house, and maybe you've decided to start walking back towards town. Just as you see that same car and driver come back around the hill. And it looks like he has passengers again.
Oh. And I pause for a second, and do they drive by me, or do they like...
I think they're actually driving up to the house.
Oh, well then I just pause and wait for them to come up, because this is also new and different.
Yeah. So Magnus and Gillis, you two and Peter, the man sort of like stopped his car outside of, or just next to your vehicle, and he just kind of like opened the door a little bit, and he's like, "You folks need a ride?"
Yeah. You almost ran us off the road. Way to go.
"I think that was your friend's fault."
No, he was grabbing chocolate, and that's way more important.
"Get in, I can drive you into town."
We could give you some chocolate if you want.
"I don't eat chocolate."
Oh my god, I don't want to drive with him. He doesn't eat chocolate.
Do you want to ride, or
Yes,
do you want to sit here all day?
Yes. Yes.
And Peter's like, oh my god, oh, thank you. Can you just not tell my boss about any of this? And the driver in the front seat just kind of like is mute, and Peter sort of puts his head in his hands.
I don't think he knows who your boss is.
That's probably a fair point. I'm just not gonna tell him. And he like surreptitiously takes his constable's hat off and just like is unpinning stuff from his unit. It's like sliding his uniform off a little bit, just very carefully, just like tucking it down under the seats. It's only a short ways into town, and the driver says, "I'll drop you off with the others." And he drives up somewhat of a winding path onto this property, out in front of this huge house, this like built upon house. And sure enough, Bix St. Rose is standing out front.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Get out.
Hi.
I'll be back. In the driver kind of like opens the door and turns to you, Bix. I'll be back to pick up, to get back into the city.
Appreciates it.
And he swings the door closed and whips the car around and heads back down the road.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Y'all look a little bit of a mess.
We are! Oh my god, I'm such a mess.
He
This was
almost
my
killed
first
us.
We
time
had a bit
driving.
of an
This is my
accident.
first time driving anything.
Can you
Oh,
believe it?
He didn't give us such information when he drove us.
what? Well, I also don't know how to drive in this part of town either, but
He
I
doesn't
also
know how to
wouldn't,
drive either.
In this
I also
part of
wouldn't have
town.
gotten in the driver's seat of a car.
Well, when the constable asks, I mean, when the boss asks you for something, and from inside the house you hear, Bix, did you bring friends? And Peter, the other Peter, walks up to the front door. He says, "Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to meet new people. Bix,
Well, I guess I've made some new friends in town. They just drove up.
I'm Gillis Anderson. I'm really only here to look at the lake and the Loch Ness. Hopefully.
Oh, it just so happens we're headed down to fish later.
Oh,
I'm also
great.
headed to the lake.
Excellent. Well, we've got ourselves a party then. Marion, we've got ourselves a party.
You're very loud.
Yes.
When
Bix holds onto his ring again, just kind of like,
when you reckon you were gonna go down?
Oh, a couple of hours now. We've got to get everything set up. And he just
Sure.
kind of like pats that big wooden box.
I might go down just a little earlier, if that's all right with everyone.
Sure. Yes, of course.
I'm
I think
gonna go
Bix
down.
was saying he was going to head down there as well.
that's exactly what I was planning on to do. I wanted to go explore.
Same. I need to go. I have to be at the loch soon. That's a very large crate. What are you fishing for?
Well, very large fish.
Aye.
So the three of you head off towards the town. Foyers is small. It is certainly not a big town, and is not even the biggest town around Loch Ness. In fact, as you head into it, Bix, you are kind of thinking to yourself, like, man, he could have brought me anywhere else, like anywhere, somewhere else, somewhere with people in it. Because
Definitely was
there's-
expecting more of a tourist town situation.
Yeah, there is a couple, larger properties. Then there's sort of a suburban area with some smaller groupings of houses, a couple of restaurants, a bakery, and then off more towards the water is a gigantic brick building with these like kind of peaked roofs, several peaked roofs, that is just kind of humming in the distance.
I think Bix, as he's walking with the group, he kind of pulls out his trumpet and is just like, well, I might as well kind of entertain myself as I'm heading into this town, because there's definitely no one really to play for, and at least there's two people with me that they might like my music. Maybe they'll give me a couple coins.
Sure.
It's kind of desperate.
Yeah. Is Nervous Peter with us as well?
No, Nervous Peter is like, I need to calm down for it. I just need some time to myself. And he's just staying at the house.
Okay.
Yeah, he's playing pretty, like, not super loud, just kind of like a mellow horn tune.
Cool.
Nothing too out there.
You said your name was Bix?
Yeah.
I think I've heard you play, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a little surprising for me because I'm new in town.
Oh, well, I just mean within the past couple days.
Oh, well, yeah. We've been playing over at the Hog's
The
Toe.
Hog's Toe.
The Hog's Toe. I keep wanting to call it Pig's Toe. But,
It's from the same family, so...
Yeah.
Although I've also heard you play, because you were just playing.
Did you like it?
Aye. It's very pleasing.
Oh, that makes me pretty happy. I love to entertain people with my brass.
That's the trumpet, not a brass.
Trumpets are brass instruments.
Ah! Alright.
I don't have any coins, but I do have them. I found this rock that I thought was real pretty.
Well,
Sorry, that's all I got.
you know what? I'll take it. This was a souvenir of my trip
It
to
could
Scotland.
be your good luck charm, so...
Oh, well, I already have one of those.
Oh, then.
You can't have too many good luck charms.
You know what? You're right. And he puts it in, like, his back pocket, but then he still goes back to his ring
Rubbing
and
his
kind of rubs his ring and then continues to kind of, like, play a little bit while kind of trying to take in the environment. And just wanting to really look at this lake.
Yep. The Loch Ness, I don't know if any of you actually have been down to it. It is gigantic. It is like, it's hard to kind of see the other shore. It's very clearly there because the mountains are rising on the other side. But you look down back in the direction of Inverness that you came, and you look down the other way, and it's just a sea of water. It is maybe the most massive lake that y'all have seen outside of an ocean. It just kind of seems to go on forever. It seems like, anything could be in there. Speaking of which, Gillis, you have begun to walk down sort of towards the water, and you see that just in literally one particular section of this kind of rocky beach, there are waves.
Gillis takes off her shoes and her socks and rolls up her pants, and she just kind of slowly wades out. And she's waiting to see if she can feel.
You definitely feel something. Bix and Magnus, you see Gillis kind of like wading out into the lake.
Bix is still playing, but he's side-eyeing it and just kind of slowly playing maybe a little louder just because this is starting to get weird. Like, that's not normal behavior.
There definitely are people like kind of like peeking out their windows as you kind of like walk past with your trumpet. And I think a few of them are even like clapping, like as you pass are kind of like, oh, wow, that was impressive. One guy even, I think from the porch where he's just out like smoking this long pipe, he's like, you keep it up, it's people like you.
I tip my hat and say, thank you, sir.
As you start wading into the water, by the way, you definitely feel the Kelpie here. I don't know whether it is like physically or magically, but there is, the Kelpie has very clearly made its way to Loch Ness.
Is there a way for me to communicate? Well, I want to be able to tell the Kelpie, hey, no funny business.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you roll manipulate someone?
Oh man, 7.
7.
Wait,
okay.
was that out of manipulate? Oh, 9.
9.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
perfect. So on a 7 and 9, they will do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it.
What, Brody? What do you want me to do?
The water kind of like splashes around your ankles, just kind of like in a pattern that you're pretty familiar with, which is like, oh, come on, like, or like, come play, like, it's, you know, what do you do? Come play with me out here. Like, it's.
Gillis picks up a couple rocks. She makes sure that they're the right shape, and she starts, what's that called?
Skipping.
Skipping. She starts skipping the rocks, and she does maybe 4 or 5. And then she starts having fun, so she picks up a couple more, and she does a couple more. And
You see, sort of as the stones like skip over the surface, it's almost like there is like skipping from the other side of the water surface. There's kind of like a ripple that kind of like greets each stone as it heads out into the lake.
I kind of give a shake to the water.
Okay.
I'm like, you
And
cut
then
that out.
the water like goes still, like supernaturally quickly. Bix and Magnus, do you want to roll plus sharp to see if you notice any of this?
Let's do it.
So you're just going to roll 2d6 and add your sharp.
10.
8.
So Bix, I think maybe you notice the water when it kind of like comes up to greet those stones, but I think maybe you think it's like, oh, that's just
The water here.
the water here. Like, it's just weird here. Magnus, you definitely notice something is up with the water. You're not 100% sure what it is, I think. I don't know if... Well, I don't know. You tell me. Do you think Magnus knows what a Kelpie is?
It doesn't help that I don't know much about Kelpies,
Mhm.
so it's hard for me to be like, yes.
Sure.
But I think because he's been doing a lot of research on more water-based mythological creatures, he
Mhm.
might have read something on them.
Sure. So I think maybe you remember a snippet of something about stories of rivers and lakes and ponds and things like that, each sort of having their own spirit, having like some sort of water, face that traditionally lures people to their deaths, sort of like lures them in and then drowns them in whatever body of water it is.
Huh. Okay. I think Magnus will kind of like slowly walk closer to the water, and just kind of not super loudly call out, being like, do I see like the kind of almost like playing notion that's happening?
Yeah, I think you saw that before you started walking down there, and now you see the lake is just still again. It has just kind of gone back to being still.
I think if Gillis has kind of sensed Magnus coming, I think she'll just continue kind of skipping rocks nonchalantly.
I have a thing I could do that
Okay.
sounds kind of fun. I want to do sensitive.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So open my brain to psychic environment. I roll plus weird. On a 10, I get a definitive impression, like a vision, a tangible like aura, or an overheard thought.
Mm-hmm.
On a 7 to 9, it's a hazy impression about something important. Or on a miss, it's my brain makes contact with something dangerous.
Cool. So this is your weird move.
Mhm.
This is what you chose instead of use magic.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and roll it.
5.
5. Okay, go ahead and mark experience.
Yay.
This is interesting. You've played right into my plot hands.
Yay, it's what I love to do.
So Magnus, I think you see something is kind of going on. You see something strange is happening. You, as you've done many times before, sort of like open your mind up to the world around you. What does that kind of feel like?
It feels like kind of in Magnus's sort of like when he does it, he sort of pictures like an old door opening and like almost like you feel like when it's really snowy out and like the air hits you, it feels like that like biting weird, like the pinpricks
Sure.
all over the body just like open up to the like whatever is happening in the outside world.
Sure. Okay. I think here's what happens then. In your mind, you see that great wooden door. And you reach for the handle, as you have so many times before, and pull it open. And this time, instead of being greeted by that like snowy, warm sense, you're greeted by a wave of tar. The tar just like washes over you, and just like it literally, you can feel it going into your mouth and like directly onto your eyes. It fills your ear canals, and you just choke on it for a second. And you open your eyes in beneath this tar, and you see that house, the house you were at before. And you see Peter standing in the doorway, just waving. And then you're back. You have taken 1 harm from that experience.
Cool. I hate it. Thank you. Plot hands feel like tar, apparently.
Gillis, you sort of see Magnus like reel back from something for some reason.
Oi, you all right then?
I just I bit my tongue.
That hurts.
Yeah, it stings.
Well, you could drink. Well, no, I was gonna say you could take a sip of water, but maybe not.
Probably not with like algae and such. And
Yeah, exactly.
it seems very still.
Yeah. I'm okay.
Bix plays like kind of like a little teasingly, but like what he thinks is like maybe a romantic-esque kind of sound. Just like, well,
like a romantic riff.
Yeah, just kind of like a little like I can't do trumpet sounds, sorry. But just kind of like a little ditty of a thing, because it's just like, wow, this is awkward, but also like adorable, and he's just like, well, let's help these two out. Kind of like.
I think when Bix does that, the water around your feet. There you go.
Hey.
Freddie can be your trumpet.
Oh, that'd be great.
As Bix kind of plays this kind of like romantic riff on the trumpet, the water around your feet kind of like tightens. It feels like instead of standing in shallow water now, you're standing at the bottom of a pool.
Bix is really good. And Gillis just kind of goes on skipping rocks. Her face is visibly starting to flush. And so I think she kind of it's getting a little chilly. Don't you think?
It doesn't feel like the weather's changed that much.
I get chills every once in a while, so
You should get that looked at.
maybe it's just me. You like sending people to the doctors, don't you? Getting
It's a
things
new
checked
thing,
out?
apparently.
I've been to a doctor once, but they ended up just giving me this ring and said to keep it on me, so I have.
What's it do?
I think it just looks cool, but you know what? Since I've had it, things seem to be pretty all right, so I just keep it on. But yeah, when back in New Orleans, when came down with something real bad and no one could figure it out, and my family took me to this doctor, and she kind of waved her hands around me. She stared me in the eyes and said, "You got something going for you." And suddenly everything cleared up, and she gave me this ring and she said, "Don't take this off." And I haven't, and things have been fine for me since.
What happens if you take it off?
Well, I haven't, because she said not to.
Can I use my spirit touch again to see if
Sure.
there's anything I can find out about the ring?
Yeah.
5.
5. Do you have any? Oh, your weird is 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
no.
mark
Yeah.
experience.
Getting so close to leveling up.
Actually, if you want, Franny, so you have the supernatural guide ability. Oh, that's only when you're using. No, it is when you're using weird. You can choose to use charm instead. It's just if you roll a failure, even with that, it counts as a bond harm. Or bond abuse.
So wait, if I use charm instead of weird, it could potentially hurt.
The bond
Yeah.
between you and your
In
partner.
this case, it wouldn't because it would bring it up to a 7.
Oh, okay, then.
But I think just in the future, keep that in mind that you can do that. Instead of rolling with weird, you could say, okay, I'm going to roll with charm.
Cool,
And then you can roll.
Well then, yes, I guess in this instance, I'll take it and make it a 7.
Okay, cool. Then I think here's what you learn. On a 7 and 9, will you read that to me one more time?
Choose either sense them fully, but they notice you too, or you sense only impressions.
Okay. Here's what I think you sense. You don't sense anything from the ring. You get no response from it. But you do get kind of a hit from Bix himself.
Oh, okay.
And I think Bix, when, I don't know, are you like reaching out to touch this ring, or are you just looking at it?
I'm just looking at it.
Okay. Then I think your hand where she is looking just begins to feel like cold. Like it's almost like you know, the temperature has dropped.
I think he instinctively is just like, and like warms up. Like, doesn't even, like he knows it's cold, but he's kind of, maybe he's felt that before.
Okay.
Do I know that I'm having this effect on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so I think I try and cut it off.
And your hand is like suddenly back to being warm.
Oh well. He just kind of just keeps...
Changes in weather. I wasn't going mindless.
Ahoy there!
Ahoy!
You all turn, and there is a man rowing a boat towards the beach. And he beaches the boat right up next to you and says, "Whoa, hey there! How's everyone doing?
All right.
Fine.
Are you all here for the tour?"
There's a tour?
"Well, yeah, I'm taking people out to see the monster."
There's a monster.
"Oh, yeah, there's a Loch Ness monster. Haven't you heard?"
Have you seen it?
"Of course I've seen it. I see it every time I go out."
So it just shows itself every time.
"Yeah, every single time I've been out, I've seen it."
Does this cost something?
"Of course.
Oh, really? How much?
It's $1 per person."
Dollars a lot.
You see it every time.
I should have said £1 per person, but, you know, I'm from America. I'm just so used to dollars. It's £1 per person.
How about what would 50 cents be in pounds? Would it just be pence? 50 pence?
I think so, yes.
Okay. How about
Sorry to anyone who's
I
from those
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to pretend to know different currencies.
How about 50 cents and I'll play you a little tune on the way.
Why don't you roll manipulate someone?
And do I get an extra?
It is adding your charm.
Yes. So 9, 10, 11.
Hey.
He kind of turns and he says, 50 cents from each of you?
Yeah.
All right, it's better than nothing. Climb in.
Gillis leans over to Magnus. I don't have 50 cents.
I don't know. Do you think you would?
Probably, yeah. I think
Okay.
I have money to travel with from...
Sure.
Yeah. I got you.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry. It's fine.
Get in, get in, get in!
I hand him
Maybe your friend can help us move the boat faster.
Gillis kind of looks down at the boat and pretends that she didn't hear.
I just stepped in. I was just like, all right, I got a deal.
Well, what kind of is that? A trumpet?
Yes, sir.
No one plays trumpet around here. I haven't heard trumpet since I lived in America.
Well-
Play us a tune.
And he just immediately starts going off. He's actually kind of really excited because if his idea is that if he's in the middle of the lake,
Yeah.
he could actually play the loudest he's been able to play in a very long time.
Yeah, true.
So he's kind of stoked.
This guy starts like, my name's Adler, and I run these tours.
Us to take over for you.
No, I'm fine. I do this. I've been doing this for a while. And he is rowing you. Sure enough, he is rowing this boat, but you are not getting very far from the shore. I think you only make it probably 50 to 100 feet out. And he says, but look out on the... Okay.
Gillis
Give me a second. Keep playing.
puts her hand in the water and just kind of like plays with it.
Okay.
Just like.
The water is kind of like responding to you, but it's being covert, as like covert as it can, just like lapping up against
playing
the
with
sides.
the water, no big deal. No one
Magnus
knows.
is just staring at you.
He, Adler says, and Colonel Robert Wilson is the first person to document evidence of the Loch Ness creature. It is said to be anywhere from 20 to 200 feet long, several humps, many teeth. Lots
Wait,
of...
if you've seen it, how do you not know if it's between 20 or 200 feet?
Ooh, good point, Magnus.
There's, well, you see different, sometimes you see different, parts of it.
Adler, are you lying to us?
No, of course, you paid $1.50 to me. I'm not lying to you.
Adler,
And he keeps rowing a little bit.
is this monster dangerous at all?
Oh, there is, lots of teeth.
So
and
you put tourists in danger every day, then, do you?
People come out here looking for the experience, you know? Thrill seekers like yourselves.
Oh,
Thrill
sure.
seekers, right? There's a thrill seeker amongst you? One of you?
I'm a
I
researcher.
seek so much thrill.
Thrill seeker, right here. Perfect. Wonderful. I do it for people like him. You two are...
No, I'm here for
I'm here just to
scenery
enjoy
and-
the ride.
And I mean, I'd love to see a Loch Ness monster. You know, see if it really exists.
Well, I can assure you it exists. Every single time I've brought a group of passengers out here, a group of tourists like yourselves, a group of thrill seekers, we have seen the Loch Ness creature.
Are we
And
gonna
he
get
goes,
there before?
look! And sure enough, there is something out in the water. Does anyone want to roll me plus sharp?
Seems like that's the only place I roll well today, so yeah.
7.
11.
Ooh.
You two don't... You definitely see something out in the water. You think to yourselves, I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like a creature, but maybe? Magnus, it's a log. It's a log with a rope tied around it to anchor it in place. He says, look, the creature! It crests!
I, the great terrible log monster.
Log monster? It's the Loch Ness creature!
The Loch Ness monster.
No, Loch Ness creature.
The Loch Ness monster.
Can we tell it's a log at this point?
Yeah.
We're like,
Adler.
yeah.
It's the Loch Ness creature!
Adler.
Mm.
We'd like our money back now, please. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
you
you said
really
you-
expect people with half a brain to think that that is a Loch Ness monster?
Well, listen. Y'all are out here in this boat, 100 feet from shore. So if you want to get back warm and dry, I'm keeping your money.
Oh, we could very well throw you off the boat.
Oh, I
Adler.
get wet every day. I'm out here rowing. But you lot, that trumpet wouldn't
Yeah, I
look
was
great
like,
sitting at the bottom of Loch Ness.
Gillis
I'd rather
starts
not. Get me
rocking
from
the
sweat.
boat.
And he starts like rocking the boat with you. And he's like, I'll dump all of you in the water.
This is a very fun ride.
Well, because Gillis is playing chicken right now because she knows if she falls in the water, she's going to be fine.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. But I think she checks in with you two. You're
He's
like,
just-
how are you?
Magnus is just laughing.
I'd really
'cause this is
rather
fun.
not get wet today.
All right, that's fair. Adler, I'm very disappointed. Is this all you've
Listen,
got?
everyone's got to make a living somehow.
Sure.
These are not good times.
I mean, everyone knows monsters aren't real.
That's
well,
right.
I mean,
Monsters
the
aren't
Loch
real.
Ness monster is real. It's just not that log.
Really?
Well, yes, of course. Yeah, of course. You would question the scientific consensus?
I mean, it's a big lake, yeah, but if there was a
There
monster
could be
in it,
anything down there, trumpeter. Anything. Teeth. Lots of teeth.
Lion, they're coming for you.
Have you got any scuba
Don't do
gear?
that. It's not. It's not. I mean, I row out here every day. It wouldn't.
You do. We're out here every day.
can I try one thing since we're out here anyway? I would just really like to blow my trumpet as loud as I can.
Go for it.
Okay.
And he takes the opportunity to just belt and like try to hold the longest note he
Cool.
can hold, and as loud as he can. And it's just like living it up, because what else is there to do in Scotland on this lake? And just kind of holds it for, I don't know, what's a good, like maybe 45 seconds.
Wow, damn.
Yeah,
Whoa,
long
Good lung
note.
capacity.
Yeah.
Long note, and just kind of like afterward, like has a relief, and was just like,
And it echoes too afterwards. Right?
Yeah.
it's like,
Off
you
the
know
mountains.
what? That alone was worth the 50 cents.
Well, I didn't catch your name, trumpeter.
Oh, my name's Bix.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, that was quite a... And then you all hear something.
Yep.
Something that comes from the lake. It is a low, deep sound. You could almost mistake it for one of the echoes of your trumpet as it echoes back to you from the mountainside. But it comes from the lake, and it actually ripples the water around you.
Does Gillis know if this is Brody or it's
This
something
is
different?
not Brody.
Okay, and
for sure.
And Gillis can tell that?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I think you feel Brody's presence, like, leave. Like run.
Okay.
Adler, is this,
That was the Loch Ness Monster! Let's go home. And he starts rowing, he starts turning the boat around and is like rowing back towards the shore.
I think Bix plays the note again.
Okay.
Yeah. Just curiosity's getting to him.
Okay.
So he plays the note again.
And again, you hear that deep, resonant coming from somewhere underneath the lake.
Is it a beautiful sound, or is it like...
Yeah, it's pretty. It almost feels like it is harmonizing with your trumpet.
Oh, that's cool.
Can I do my spirit touch?
Yeah, absolutely.
9. Yeah.
Okay. So on a 7 and 9, will you...
Sorry, yeah, it's the I either sense them fully, but they notice me too,
Mhm.
or sense only impressions.
What do you want to do?
I mean, they must know that we're already here, right?
Maybe.
Well then maybe I'll sense impressions.
Okay. Something lives in this lake. Something magical, something large, and something that is most definitely not Brody or any of his ilk.
Can I tell if it's dangerous?
I don't think you can tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think we should get off the lake, Adler.
Yep, working on it, and he's like rowing as fast as he can back towards the shore.
As nervous as Magnus is to do it, I think he wants to open up again to see if he can figure out if he can see it.
Cool. Do that.
Let's use water-looking dice. Wow, same number.
Okay.
6.
6. That is a failure. Mark experience.
I level up.
You leveled up. Okay.
Yay!
So start looking on the back of your sheet on whether you want to take another move or a power up or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So you feel sand this time when you open the door.
Oh, I don't like that.
It is just coarse and just washes over you. It's like a dune of sand has slid through this doorway on top of you, and you can feel it suffocating you.
Ooh.
It just buries you beneath this mountain of perfect yellow sand. And as you start digging out, even just in your mind, digging out of this thing, all you're finding is more sand. More sand and more sand and more sand, until finally you reach the surface and you take this huge breath of air, and it's just musty.
Okay.
Adler arrives back at the shoreline just as you see Peter Kent and Marion strolling down towards the waterfront. Oh, hey! Did y'all go for a quick boat ride, or?
Yeah.
And Adler's kind of like packing up his stuff, and he's like, "Doors are closed," and he's kind of like packing things up.
Yeah, we had a cool tour, and I played my trumpet as loud as I could, and the water just reacted kind of.
And I think Gillis cuts Bix off.
He's like in his thoughts about it, like trying to figure it out, but doesn't really understand.
You know, like the water and the echoes. You know, it just rippled the water.
It was just. It sounded so nice.
It sounded beautiful. It was very haunting, and yeah, it's like an experience I've never experienced before. Yeah.
I think Peter says, yeah, that sounds beautiful. And he kind of goes quiet for a minute. And Marion perks up. You said you heard a sound?
The trumpet.
Yeah, I played my trumpet, and it as loud as I could, and the echo that came back, it sounded like
it was coming from the lake.
Yeah.
Like the sound waves were bouncing off the lake.
Like it was just a sound I've never heard before, and that was great.
Can I be honest with all of you? My husband, of course, likes to throw these parties and get people involved, and in general, I'm against that sort of thing, but especially if your trumpet seems to have some reactive abilities. Would you like to be a part of something historic?
Like what?
Like capturing the Loch Ness creature?
I don't think there's actually a creature under there. Adler was
it turned out to be a log.
Yeah.
I can assure you there's a creature under there.
I think this would be a good time to point out what I took for my level up, which is Suspicious Mind.
Okay.
If someone lies to me, I know.
Okay. Marion is not lying.
Cool.
She at least genuinely believes there is a creature under the water.
All right.
What?
She says, we have a plan to catch it. But we could use some extra hands, I suppose, as long as you don't claim too much of the credit in the press.
I don't like press.
Peter says, perfect! Wonderful! Good teamwork, everyone!
What makes you so sure that there's something in the lake?
Oh, we've both seen it.
Have you? What's it look like?
Oh, it's a beautiful creature. Long neck, beautiful scales along it, mouth full of somewhat less auspicious teeth than you would think. Large eyes, sort of mounted to the sides of its head. Beautiful eyes. Look great in a museum.
Are they describing? No.
No.
Okay. Cool. But I think so. But Gillis is just no. I don't think I'm gonna be a part of that.
I think.
But thank you.
What would you do if you catch such a creature?
Well, of course we'd go to the presses. We'd tell them all that there's a creature in Loch Ness.
Why?
That you know, we to have evidence of such a creature. Can you believe it? Can you imagine?
Vix thinks she's nuts. Like it's just I was like, he's looking at a watch he doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get back to the Hogs for my show tonight. Because my band is definitely looking for me, and I need to get paid for a part of this trip. So I'm going to start heading back there y'all want to join me, I'm going to go do that, because...
We weren't quite sure how we were going to draw the creature out. But it seems you've presented us with a perfect opportunity. You can't leave now, Bix.
Well, look, I'm happy to play my trumpet for whoever wants to pay me to play the trumpet. Especially if I'm risking missing my show. So, at this point, I would just need to be compensated, and I'll...
Of course. And Peter kind of like pats you on the back, like heavier than he needs to, and says, of course you'll be compensated. We're going to talk to everyone in the press. You'll be famous. The band will tour wherever you'd like.
The water's toxic. No one should go in the water. It's unsafe.
Wow.
I've
You
been
were
doing
just in the water.
Yes, and we're all going to die.
Why don't you roll manipulate someone?
Magnus is not taking his eyes off of Peter.
Also, you know this is a lie.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, you said manipulative? 7.
7. Okay, so on a 7 and 9, they'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. If you ask too much, they'll tell you what, if anything, it would take for them to do it. So, Peter says, well, I mean, frankly, until one of us gets sick, we're going to go forward with our plans.
This might be... Is it called metagame? But if I'm deciding something right now about my character,
go for it.
what if Gillis like lifts up her sleeve to show just like a scab that she's had for like it's just like a skin condition just on like this one arm.
Okay.
And she just says, This is what I've gotten.
That's awful.
And you'll get it too. And it's very painful. Ouch.
That's...
And you're gonna die a slow, painful, agonizing death.
Can Bix
Gillis is not smiling.
I don't know if Bix can necessarily... You can decide whether you know she's lying as Bix.
I think, ouch, Cluderman.
But I think Peter says, no, I'm afraid unless my wife or I get sick, we're going to carry forward with our plans.
And Gillis...
We brought this harpoon all this way.
Gillis goes into the bushes and pretends to retch. She's like, it started... I'm
we
gonna
hope you
go...
feel better. And sure enough, tramping down the road is that huge figure, the driver. And he is carrying a massive harpoon gun.
Oh, y'all serious?
There is something mounted in the end of it that is not a harpoon.
That's not good.
I think Gillis might approach Bix later, but right now I think since she can sense that Magnus is kind of onto her, she goes up to Magnus and just in hushed whispers goes, Magnus, all right, I'm coming clean. I can't let people go in the water because they might find my kid brother.
I figured there's something. Kid. Interesting. Anyways, we also don't want it finding the Loch Ness at all and get proving that something's actually,
right,
happening. So this, I say go along with it so we can sabotage it.
Okay. Sure. I don't want them to, okay. I don't want them to find out that there's another spirit.
They won't find out anything. Because we're going to stop them.
Okay.
Also, there's something weird about that Peter guy.
Very, very weird.
No, like, weird.
What do you mean?
I'll explain later. It'll take too long to do it with people right there.
Bix, we've decided... Well, do you want to talk, Magnus?
Sure. We'll help.
Oh, wonderful!
But we'll all need to be compensated.
Oh, of course. We'll talk compensation after we've got the monster.
£1,500 for me.
Oh, let's discuss it after we've got the monster.
Can Bix look at the harpoon
Sure.
thing? Whatever that is?
Do you want to roll me investigate a mystery?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So 9.
9. Okay. So on a 7 and 9, hold 1. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? Or what is being concealed here?
I want to know what's attached to the end of the thing. So I guess that's...
What does it do?
I think that is also a reasonable question. Like, if y'all have a question that is not like what is the monster and how do we kill it?
Yeah, because right now, like, Big still doesn't think Loch Ness is a thing.
Yeah. But
now he definitely knows these people definitely believe it.
Yeah.
So he wants to know what the thing is because
Sure.
he's never seen that before.
Yeah. So I think how much time has Bix spent in museums?
I'd say if he happens to get there on a free day, he'll explore one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then maybe as you were coming up from London, or maybe on a stop through New Orleans when you had a day to kill, you wandered into a museum that was just exhibiting Egyptian artifacts, and there was all kinds of things. I mean, there were sarcophagi, and they kind of talked about what they understood about the embalming process. There's a lot of stuff that you're like, well, I don't think that was right. A lot of stuff about like what people in the 1930s believed about the ancient Egyptians. But I think the one thing you did notice was a recreation of an old object called a was staff, or a was staff, which was used by the pharaohs. It was sort of like a war or like a leader, something to denote a leader, and it was often buried with the pharaohs and things. You don't know for a fact, but you would bet that's what they have mounted in the end of this harpoon gun.
Okay. I think Big stares at it and realizes they're like, yeah, these people are probably going to pay me, because that's an expensive looking thing. He doesn't think it'll be like actually fruitful because monsters.
Sure.
But they definitely have the money to pay up.
Sure.
And they like him, so
yeah,
he's like, all right, fine.
Okay. So Peter says, well, Sherrod here's got the harpoon gun, so if everyone's set, shall we make our way to the aluminum plant?
The what?
Oh, the aluminum. Well, we need to. We sort of have to power the harpoon gun. It uses electricity. Can you believe it?
That's strange.
Yes, it was very expensive. Custom built by a friend of ours.
So what is it supposed to do?
Well, it's supposed to hunt the Loch Ness Monster. Assuming we can lure it within range and,
Assuming it exists.
I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but electricity and water don't normally mix. So
well,
don't you think it's a bit dangerous bringing that out onto the water?
Well, what would an adventure be without a little danger?
Sure.
Peter and Marion set off down the road towards this that sort of peaked building that you had seen earlier, the long brick warehouse-looking building. And do the three of you follow?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you arrive outside of the plant and you see that the doors are locked. And Peter says, Sherrod, if you will, turns to the guy with the harpoon gun. And the guy kind of like sets the harpoon gun down, goes over and just like rips the chain off the door. As if it was like paper. Just pulls the chain right off of the door, sets it on the ground, and wrenches open the doors. And you see that this aluminum plant is empty. It seems like whoever the workers are here have had the day off. So it's just empty and dark inside. Right this way, right this way.
How are you gonna make it have electricity and work?
Well, we're gonna siphon some of the aluminum plant's power, of course. It was the biggest power generation that we could find in this area, and then with our friend loaning us the mansion, it seems sort of like fate.
Are we supposed to be in this building right now?
Well, you know, have to break a couple of eggs.
Vic starts rubbing his ring.
Gillis isn't saying anything. She's just like, okay.
Sherrod picks up the harpoon gun and follows the three of you inside.
So, from my understanding, they're gonna try and power the harpoon gun up in this plant.
Mm-hmm. And then take it out on the water.
And they're just is there a way to make it where they can't get the power?
So this aluminum plant runs on a hydroelectric dam nearby, and that is what supplies the power to the entire plant. So if you could find some way to disable the hydroelectric components that provide the power to this place, then you could ostensibly completely annihilate their plan.
Okay. Cool.
Right this way, right this way. And Peter is like motioning you further into this plant.
Do you have a washroom here?
Oh, I don't know. There's probably one over there. He just points off in one of the directions.
Thank you. Gillis goes to the washroom to start running water.
Okay. I think you get to the washroom, close the door behind you. I think as soon as you start running the water, it just arcs out of the faucet and like comes into this draconic face in front of you, just perfectly facing you between you and the mirror.
Brody, this is not good. We need to. Is there any way that you can stop? There's a hydro. What was it called?
It's a hydroelectric power plant.
There's a hydroelectric power plant. Can you kind of stop the running of the water? They're gonna charge up this harpoon, and they're gonna. I'm just worried that if they look for the Loch Ness monster, they're gonna find you. Can you help?
I think Brody gives you like a nod, and then the water siphons itself back into the faucet.
And then Gillis just kind of recollects herself and goes back out.
So Bix, here's sort of what we're thinking. If when we go out on the water, if you can do the same thing you did that drew its attention in the first place, well, I mean, our plan was to use dynamite, so I'm glad we don't have to resort to that.
So she was saying there's electrical.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm out on the water,
Yes.
and am I going to get shocked?
Oh, no, of course not.
Do I believe him?
Yeah, I think he is confident that you are not going to get shocked. How much you believe that is up to you.
I think Bix is very, very nervous about any of these. Is it? Can I just play from the shore? I don't.
Oh no, we need you out on the boat.
Mm.
Unless somehow you could draw it to the shore.
Okay. And like, cause he's just thinking coins at this point. So
Yeah.
he's just like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll go do it. All right. Is there any way I could get paid up front for doing this? Cause
Oh, you think we have any money left? We spent all of our money on the harpoon gun.
Another bunch of liars.
You didn't hear that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Dang it.
All right, I'm here, new place, new country, people that are straight. Okay, yeah, let's go do this. All right, sure.
Magnus,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
While they're having this conversation,
Yeah.
if I could try and sneak away.
Sure.
It's like a thing called I want to see if I can make this work because this seems really silly and fun.
Okay.
There's a thing called often overlooked. When
Okay.
you act all crazy to avoid something, like attention, roll plus weird. On a 10+, I'm regarded as unthreatening and unimportant. On a 7 to 9, I pick one.
Okay.
And on a miss, I draw lots, but not all of the attention.
Okay. Cool.
So I think he's kind of just like futzing with his scarf and just kind of like looking around and like spinning in a circle and then just kind of like reaching down and like picking pebbles up and just kind of
Just kind of being eccentric.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Roll me 2d6.
Weird has not been working so well for me. 8.
8. Okay.
So I get to pick one. So I'll say unthreatening or unimportant. Let's go with unimportant.
Unimportant. Okay. I think Peter kind of like sees you doing that and is like, whatever you need to do. This is a big day. And then kind of turns back to Bix. Sherrod gives you like a long, lingering look as he lumbers by, holding the harpoon gun. And I think it's like he's literally like turning over his shoulder to look at you as he passes. But once he, is far enough past you that he can't turn his head any further, his head kind of like snaps back to attention and he continues following Peter.
Okay, and then once my attention's away, I'm gonna walk away.
Cool. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to find like the control panel room or
Sure.
something like that.
Okay. Why don't you roll me investigate a mystery, I think?
Sweet.
Or plus sharp, maybe? Might
Yeah,
be
I'm
better.
okay with that.
And Gillis, you catch back up with Bix and Peter and Sherrod and Marion as they are just getting to this huge, like what looks to be a central power control.
Well, is there anything we can do to help?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to figure out how this works, that would be
Figure out how it works? You mean you don't know?
well, I mean, we were just gonna plug in some wires until
Bix is just in the corner, like mildly tooting, just kind of
Sure, yeah. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. Got this handled, I think. Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
Okay. Gillis just, Gillis has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
What is? Are you trying to like sabotage it? Or are
Yes.
you- okay. Cool. Why don't you roll me plus sharp?
Okay. 9.
9. Okay. Then here's the deal. I think you figure out. Number 1, you figure out how to turn this on. Number 2, you know how to sabotage it, but it's gonna take a minute. Like you need some like time, and it's gonna be kind of obvious. You think once you start like turning these things, all of the needles are gonna go into the red,
Okay.
and like people are gonna start noticing.
Okay. Do I know where Magnus has gone off to?
I don't think you see Magnus.
Okay.
You see Bex kind of over there, just kind of like.
Bex.
yeah.
Bex, come over here.
Okay.
Can you do a performance right now? Like just kind of an improvised performance of sorts?
Yeah. I guess
I
practice.
need a little more time with this, and if you could maybe distract them.
Oh,
I mean, they already love your trumpet playing.
well, I don't really want to go out on Iwata anyway, so yeah, let's do it here. Yeah, sure. And Bix like kind of goes to like away from that machine, but toward the center, and just kind of like he's like, I got to practice in Wama, and starts to just kind of play a tune.
Okay.
And it sounds like he's going through notes.
Cool.
And getting progressively louder and softer, louder and softer.
What? So, you in the past, this ring has kind of like been with you in most of your luckiest times,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe you were wearing this ring when you got this trip to Scotland?
Yeah. He got it when he got the trip to Scotland. He was actually pretty bad at trumpet at first, and then after this ailment and the ring, he suddenly started progressing really well.
Yeah.
He just figured he was finally like got over that hump, and it's just he was wearing it when he got the gig to be in this band. Just essentially like any kind of milestone-y thing.
Okay.
He's always had this ring on him, and it's always when he's like, sometimes it feels warm and he feels like he's like on the right path, but it's not something that he like is conscious about. It's just he knows it's his comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you feel it start to get a little warm as you play. Why don't you roll me manipulate someone and add a +1 forward to this.
Okay, so charm. So add a
+1 to whatever you rolled.
Oh, well then just a 3.
A 3 total?
Yeah, I got 2 1s. Do I add my charm?
Yes.
Oh, so then 4, 5.
5. Okay. All right.
Not great.
Well, mark experience.
Okay.
He's
real nervous.
Here's what happens then. You start to play, and you're just kind of fumbling the notes. Like, you're in this situation, these people are asking you to, like, break into places and, like, go out on the water with this dangerous harpoon gun, and it's getting to you.
Yeah, he's here on a visa.
It's not a good situation. And you start just kind of, like, fumbling through these notes, and then you just feel a massive hand set on your shoulder. And Sherrod reaches up and just grabs your trumpet and just, like, pulls it away from your lips.
What you doing there, sir?
That's enough.
Okay. And he, like, makes sure he gets his trumpet back and kind of takes a couple steps back. He's not, like, Bix is not a big dude by any means. He's kind of a scrawny guy.
Yeah.
And takes, like, several steps back away from him. And just holds on to his trumpet, but also the ring. Just kind of being defensive. Like, he's very, like, stiff and not comfortable anymore. He's like, I don't think the money is worth it anymore. I don't want to do this. Sorry, Mr. Kent. I think my time's done here.
Peter, kind of like from across the room, is kind of like, he's like watching Gillis and then kind of like turns to look at you and is like, well, Bix, you can't leave now. I mean, we need you. Frankly, Bix, you're in a little deep. You kind of already know that we broke into this place and that there's a monster out there. I mean, hell, you could walk down the street to that Adler fellow and tell him to go get the monster before us. With all due respect, we can't let you leave.
If I play my horn, I just do the thing, can I just be free to go? That's, at this point...
Of course!
Bix still does not believe that there's a monster at all. He just thinks everyone's just...
crazy.
Not well.
Yeah.
Just... This is not a good situation. He just...
Yeah.
The quickest way out, if he can.
Cool.
So he's like, all right.
I think Sherrod just stays next to you. I think he's just kind of like looming. And I think he just kind of like crosses his arms.
Yeah, Bix is just like the most he's ever fiddled with his ring. I think he's almost like making it warm himself. Like he thinks, at least that's what he thinks is happening.
Yeah.
Just out of like sheer kind of terror at this point. He's not okay.
Yeah.
This is his first time overseas. And,
buddy.
Gillis.
Has it been enough time?
You have got the opportunity to sabotage this thing. Roll. Actually, no. We're just going to keep your plus sharp roll because you already know how to do this, and you have a way to do it now because everyone is focused on Bix. the needles just start flipping to the red. They're just like bouncing off of the end of the thing, and you can hear this machine like whirring to life, and all of a sudden the entire place lights up. Lights just turn on. These incandescent bulbs just like shoot on, and machinery starts to move. You hear big bellows start to, and bits of machinery start like passing overhead on this big conveyor belt. Things are heating up. Magnus, what are you doing?
I was going for the control room, and I rolled a 9.
Sure.
For
I think
investigate a mystery.
you make it to the control room. It's locked.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, for investigate a mystery.
Yeah, because you had
Okay.
me roll investigate a
So
mystery.
go ahead and ask one question.
I guess what can hurt it would be a good idea, because I'm trying
Sure.
to make this where the electricity won't run.
Sure. I think getting inside to the control room, I think there's a couple of things that are just kind of labeled like don't turn on. Or like don't, like there's a couple buttons that are like don't turn this one on while this one's on, because bad stuff would happen. You like it would
that's
be
great.
bad.
That's wonderful.
But the door is locked.
I know I don't have like a lockpick, but I do have throwing knives, which are
Sure.
probably pretty small. So could I try and like jimmy the lock a little bit?
Sure. I think you are starting to hear the commotion that is going on downstairs, though.
Mhm.
So can you roll me act under pressure?
That's with plus cool.
Plus cool.
7.
Okay. So I think you jimmy this lock open. You totally get it open, but you destroy the lock in the process.
Okay,
And I think you kind of break your knife also.
Okay.
So you make it into this room, and all of the buttons have started to kind of like glow now. Now that the power is on from Gillis.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? You just want to flip as many as possible, or?
Well, yeah, no, I want to make it where this will not give the power to that thing. If possible, like as destructive as it would be for this town, to make it where this just doesn't power on.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you just do that? I think.
Yeah.
Because I think you've seen all these buttons. You've figured out how to do
And
it.
it's great if it says like don't press this while this does that.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm not using the move, I do have contrary as one of my moves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I think you just start flipping buttons. You're like this one and this one, flip them both. This one, flip them both.
Ooh,
And
this one's big and shiny.
Things
Clonk.
just start like churning. Like
Yeah.
all of the readouts are like going crazy. There's a bunch of big red flashing buttons now, and you look out across the floor, and these machines are just moving in ways that they should not move. They're like going to pour stuff, and then also trying to lock into a position, and then a couple of the things are like tipping over, and like things are going nuts. Back down.
This is the first time we see just like a big grin, just like yeah.
Back down on the factory floor, it is you two, Sherrod, and Peter and Marion. And Peter and Marion have both started to notice something is going on. And Sherrod turns to you, Gillis, and says, "Is this you?"
I made it work. All the lights are on. It turned on. I did it. I'll have my 1,500 pounds, please.
Bix is just like, can he see like everything?
Yeah, everything is
fucking
going
up?
haywire.
I mean, I don't mean to call. I don't think we should be in here anymore.
Well, Bix, I mean, Gillis, you've turned it on. Wonderful. And Marion grabs a pair of these huge, like, electrical cables that are kind of, like, sitting next to some of the factory thing, and just kind of, like, starts pulling on them, and then Sherrod walks over and just rips them out of the machine and hands them to her, and she starts kind of, like, setting them up next to this machinery that you just turned on. And she says, "Peter, darling, get the harpoon ready." and everything is like going crazy. Sherrod turns to the two of you and says, I think it's time that the two of you go. I think you've done enough damage here.
Damage.
I'm ready to head out. I think you should.
Well, we're not gonna leave without Magnus.
Where is he?
Probably just went to the washroom.
And Sherrod looks up in the glass the glass window into the power station and just says, "There he is," and just starts headed your way.
Yo, I'm in trouble.
Peter and Marion are like sitting next to this harpoon, and these wires. Marion kind of like holds them out from herself and just touches the ends together, and they just spark like everywhere. It just throws off this huge shower of sparks, and she kind of gives this like giddy like ah! And Peter is like picking up this harpoon gun, which is like clearly way too big for him, and is like setting it up next to everything. They're about to charge this thing.
I think at this point, Gillis is just gonna run and try and tackle Peter.
Cool. This is our first kick some ass roll.
Yay!
So roll me kick some ass.
Oh man.
Plus tough.
Oh no! 4.
4. Okay, this is gonna be bad. That is a failure. For kick some ass, normally when you kick some ass on a 7 to 9, you and whatever you're fighting do damage to each other, and on a 10 plus, you get to pick one additional thing. But because you failed, Peter sees you coming.
Oh no.
And I think he just turns the harpoon gun towards you. And Gillis, I don't think you get out of the way quick enough to avoid it just like slashing across your middle. Go ahead and take 2 harm. You're just like bleeding from this big gash across your stomach now. And Peter says, "Now, come on. Don't get in the way of progress."
Can I, at this point, do like my what could go wrong move?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whenever you charge into immediate danger without hedging your bets, you hold 2. Then you could spend your hold to. One of the options is reduce someone's harm suffered by 1.
Okay. Sure. So how do you think that you prevent Gillis from taking this harm?
I think once Bix sees that she's just running for it,
Yeah.
like he's just at this point just like, I guess I'm committed, kind of like doesn't want to see people get hurt.
Yeah,
and
of course.
It's just like these people are nuts. So he like runs to kind of like also kind of push her out of the way because he sees that the harp blade that he's aiming it at her and just shoves her out of the way.
Great. Okay, then take 1 harm instead of 2.
Okay.
What is your other hold there? What do you want to do with that?
What does that mean exactly? What can I do? Like,
So that list of options, if you have 2 hold, you can do 2 of those things.
Oh.
So you saved Gillis. What is
Okay.
the other thing that you're going to do?
I think
And actually, I think, does that require a roll?
I think it does.
Or does it just say whenever?
it's just whenever you charge into immediate danger without
Okay.
hedging your bets, hold
Yeah.
2.
So I think the exchange here is like you grab Gillis and move her out of the way,
Mhm.
but that puts you within range of both Peter and Marion.
Okay.
Who are both looking at you like they're not your friend anymore.
Okay, well then the other one is I'd like to take the +2 forward on an act under pressure roll.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it.
Okay. Then I think Marion dives towards you with these huge electrical cables, and she's just kind of like swinging them at
Oh
you.
no.
Roll act under pressure.
5, 6, plus cool, so 7, and with my 2,
Plus
8,
two.
9.
9. Okay. Mixed success. I'm going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. I think you can get out of the way, but you are going to leave your trumpet there. You're going to leave your trumpet behind.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can avoid some of the damage, still take some, and hold on to your trumpet.
I think I'd rather take some damage and hold on to my trumpet.
Cool. Then you take 1 damage as she swings this thing, and luckily for you, the electric end just misses you. And instead, you're sort of like slapped with this industrial wiring.
That's fair.
And sort of like knocked to the side, stumbling backwards with your trumpet. Magnus, you see Sherrod is thundering your way. He's going to be here any second. What do you do?
I'm assuming there's not another door on the other side.
1 door in, 1 door out.
So I'm gonna at least get out of the very close, intimate area.
Cool. You're now on this like metal walkway
Yeah.
up above the factory floor.
Cool.
And he has just like climbed up the other side. So he is like on the walkway too, but y'all are like apart.
Okay. Are there stairs behind me?
So there's the room back to you.
Yeah.
And then there's sort of like it kind of goes in a rectangle.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
he's kind of like diagonally to you on this rectangle.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna run to the stairs
Cool.
to get and either like, if I have to go past him, either like try and like dive between his legs.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a very tall guy.
Sure.
Like dive under his legs to avoid him. And if I can't do that, I'll do something else.
Cool. Roll me act under pressure.
4.
Mark experience.
Oh,
Magnus, you try to duck under Sherrod, and he just grabs you. He just grabs you, and he lifts you up by your legs so you're suspended upside down, and then he just throws you onto the factory floor. And you slam into the machinery on your way down for 3 harm.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You are just laying, kind of like splayed out. How much harm do you have currently?
I have 4, so I'm unstable.
Okay. So Magnus is just laying kind of like bleeding on the ground now.
Can I, if I want to stumble across something important right now, is that like something I could find something?
Sure, that's totally legitimate. Would you read me the full thing there?
It's called Oops. If you want to stumble across something important, tell the keeper. You will find something important and useful, although not necessarily related to your immediate problems.
Sure, okay. Okay.
Taking a chance here.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think you find, weirdly enough, I think you find like a Dasani bottle? Like a plastic bottle.
Oh.
Like something that doesn't exist.
Oh. I guess just out of like, even though shit's going on and everything's like, I could curse on this show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
He picks it up. He just keeps it, like, he puts it in his pocket because it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still, like, looking for something to distract. And then he remembers that he has that rock that Gillis gave him, and tries to throw it up to distract.
Sure.
Yeah.
Roll me manipulate someone.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
And 10, 11.
Oh, 11. Okay, so on a 10 plus, they'll do it for the reason you gave them. So Sherrod, like, turns to look after this rock and starts, like, charging down the walkway after it, away from Magnus. Gillis, outside, you hear an explosion. In fact, all of you do. It shakes the building for a moment there. And you feel Brody just kind of self-satisfied. And suddenly all of the lights, all of the machinery stop. Everything, the lights go out, the machinery stops, and everything is momentarily quiet.
I did it.
And while that's happening, I think since Gillis knows, like, thank you, Brody, she goes to the washroom. But the water isn't running. Is there like a way that is there like water on the ground, like residue, that she could, because Gillis, her thought process is maybe she can heal Magnus in some way with the help of Brody and using this water. Yeah, that's what she wants to do.
Okay. Why don't you roll use magic? This water kind of coats your hand as you stick your palms to it. It just kind of like flows up and over you, and it's sort of like you're wearing water gloves now.
Just for visual sake, is Magnus above us and we're still below?
So Magnus has been thrown to the factory floor.
Okay, so we're all on the same level. Okay.
Yeah, everyone except Sherrod is on the factory floor.
I got Skywalkered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to do the supernatural guide thing where instead of weird, I'll do the charm.
Sounds good.
Help,
so you're channeling Brody.
Yeah.
Okay.
7, 8, 9.
9. Okay. Great. So you walk over to Magnus. What does it look like when you are doing this?
You know how water looks in space?
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of over my hands right now. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of like droplets are kind of coming off my hand, but for the most
Just
part,
floating off into the air.
but for the most part, there's like a very thin layer of water just on my hands.
Okay.
And I think, are there visible wounds on Magnus?
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Magnus, do you want to describe what you look like right now?
I think the glasses that were just partially cracked are now like the one is like that like shattered, like that like iPhone screen just shattered.
Yeah.
And then you just see like a pretty large like gash from when he like hit one of the pieces of the machinery, and he's just kind of like laying there with like when you get the breath knocked out of you, the like.
I even feel like maybe you can kind of see rib.
Yeah,
like
probably
it's
a little.
not good. Like it's just exposed wound.
So then, very, very gently, Gillis is going to put her hands over the gash and have the water kind of like trickle from her hands into the wound.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are going to use magic to heal someone. So you are healed for 1 harm.
I'm not unstable anymore.
What is your glitch?
Oh.
Because you rolled a 7 and 9. So the choices are: the effect is weakened, the effect is of short duration. That one is not going to work for this. You take 1 harm, ignore armor. You draw immediate unwelcome attention, or it has a problematic side effect.
I'll take harm.
Okay, you take 1 point of harm then.
Oh,
as you kind of like
it.
feel that come into you, I think it is almost like the moisture is being drawn out of your body as it is going into Magnus, and you just kind of feel like that. It's like being really, really dehydrated.
Yeah.
And you just immediately feel bad. You almost have like a headache coming on.
Does
Bix
Bix notice this? Like,
yeah,
actually
I think
sees this.
Yeah, I think you all see this, and then you hear. Just this like glowing sound. This like just kind of fills the entire area. And you look over and Peter is holding the harpoon gun, and that thing at the end, that thing that is supposedly a harpoon, is glowing this like electric blue. And Miriam is just standing. She drops the electric cables and just starts laughing and just like clapping and holding her hands up. And Peter looks to the 3 of you, looks up just as Sherrod steps down between you guys and him, and just waves as he books it out the side door.
Ooh!
What do you do? Sherrod is standing in your way.
I pull out my handgun.
Okay.
my little itty bitty handgun.
Okay. Is this kick some ass?
Yeah.
Okay, roll kick some ass. Plus tough.
A 3. Just a 3.
Jeebus.
Not
All right,
tough at all.
Vix.
Not
So,
tough at all.
so here's what happens. Sherrod sees you going for your gun and goes for his just a little bit quicker, and draws it and fires, and you are thrown to the ground for 3 harm. It is straight through the shoulder. You can kind of feel that like your shoulder joint has just been completely shredded. Your arm is like out of capacity. That is your
which arm?
Whichever is the arm you were holding the gun in.
Ouchie.
Oh, I mean, he screams. Big screams.
Yeah. And Sherrod just kind of like turns the gun on the 2 of you and says, Anyone else want to try?
I mean, a little bit, but also no.
What do you do?
So they're leaving.
Yeah, they're running.
With the
Peter
charged-
and Marion are running out the side
With the
door.
charged gun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I have a pocket knife.
Okay.
So it's probably not very big, but
About pocket knives are usually about
Yep.
that big.
Yep. How far away is Sherrod?
Sherrod, he's probably like 20, a good 20 or 30 feet from you right now. Maybe even a little bit further because he was coming down off the other side of this raised platform.
I think I'm just gonna. So I'm gonna discreetly kind of get out my pocket knife and have it prepared and ready.
Okay.
And then I'm just knowing full well that I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm gonna run towards.
Sherrod.
Sherrod. I'm gonna run towards Sherrod, expecting him to pick me up or
Okay. Yeah.
And what I'm hoping is that I can then somehow get a vital
Interesting.
stab.
I like this. I feel like this is a charm roll. Like I feel like you are trying to convince him. You're bluffing, right? You're trying to get him to pick you up, so that you can get close enough to stab him.
Yeah.
So roll me just straight plus charm.
Okay.
Not manipulate someone.
Oh.
9, 10, 11.
11. Okay.
Ah!
He does exactly what you're expecting him to do. He almost I feel like he just sees you coming and just instinctively drops the gun and wraps you in this bear hug. You're just immediately going to take 1 harm as he just starts squeezing you, but you are in a perfect opportunity to get him. Roll me act under pressure, roll me kick some ass, and take a +1 forward.
Kick some ass. Oh, okay.
With an extra +1?
9, but then my tough is a -1.
So 8.
So 8.
It's still
Okay.
7 to 9.
So yeah, so on a 7 to 9, you and whatever you're fighting are going to deal damage on each other. So how much harm does this pocket knife deal?
1 harm.
Okay. I think since you are up on him, it is going to deal 2 harm because you're stabbing him right in the neck. I feel like you stick him right in the side, and he just reels and stumbles, and then just grabs you and throws you against the wall. Take an additional harm as you just slide to the ground.
Okay.
Are you unstable?
I am unstable.
Okay.
While she was doing that, could I try to sneak up behind him? Because I want to crawl on him like a spider monkey and use my garrote.
Yeah, I feel like this is a act under pressure.
Yeah.
Also, in between, I leveled up.
Oh, okay.
With that fail.
Do you know what you want to take?
I'm going to take a +1 on tough because I don't have any of that. So
Okay, sounds good.
Gonna do that.
That's a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a hard choice or a price to pay. You can get up on him, but it's going to put Gillis in more danger if you do.
Trying to think how much I care.
I think Gillis, I don't know if Gillis is conscious during any of this, probably not, but no Gillis would want you to.
Yeah, I think I'd much rather deal with potentially getting this garrote around this man's neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you totally scale him. I think it's just you just grab him by the shoulder and he just turns and you just yank it back.
Yeah.
Roll me kick some ass.
So 8.
8. Okay, so you and whatever you're fighting are going to deal harm on each other.
Yeah.
So here's what I think happens. I'm not going to make you take any harm, but this garrote is going to deal 3 harm, right?
Yeah, 3 harm
Okay.
messy. Or 3 harm intimate, sorry.
It just crushes his esophagus, just immediately, just it's awful. And he is just gasping for breath, but the garrote snaps over his neck.
That's okay.
Just completely snaps, and you fall from his back to the ground. You don't take any harm, but you just have 2 ends of a garrote.
That's okay.
And he's just wheezing, and he grabs his gun, and I think he's gonna grab you, Gillis. He just like I think just like do you have long hair?
No, I have the shorter, shaggy hair.
Short hair. Okay, so I think he just like maybe just like grabs you by the back of your clothes, and he just like points the gun at you.
Can I use my power of heart?
Yeah. What is that?
When fighting a monster, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster.
If you help someone, don't roll plus cool. You automatically help as though you rolled a 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are helping out Gillis to escape this guy.
Yes.
Okay. So on a 10 plus for help out, that person gets +2, right?
Yeah, you automatically help as though you rolled a 10.
10 plus, your help grants them a +1 on their roll.
+1. Okay.
On
So,
12 plus, your help lets them act.
Oh, that's
they just rolled a 12. Yeah,
that's
for the
an
advanced.
advanced,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
So Gillis, roll act under pressure to escape this guy, and we will add your +1 to that.
9.
10.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just completely break free. Do you want to describe how you do this, Gillis?
Because I was hoisted up right by
Yeah.
the end. I think being petite enough, and being quick enough, I just kind of like get out
Shimmy
of my
out of your
I
clothes?
shimmy out of my clothes, and then plop down to the ground and
Sure.
just like gather
Um,
myself to.
Yeah, great. Then I think Sherrod is just gonna like turn to all of you and just I think actually Magnus, having just been garroted by you and also thinking you are threatening from earlier, he's gonna point his gun at you and take a shot. So roll me act under pressure.
7.
7. Okay. So I'm going to give you a hard choice or price to pay. I've already set up, you and Gillis are near each other.
Yeah,
You take the harm, or Gillis takes the harm.
I'll take the harm.
Okay. Take 3 harm as you are just caught.
Oh!
You're caught, in fact, in the thigh. And you just, like, it just explodes in this, like, rosy burst. And you feel your leg just instantly give out. And Sherrod says, all right, that's enough from the lot of you. And he books it out that side door as well, still clutching his throat.
I'm not dead. So if you hadn't healed me earlier, that would have killed me.
Oh my gosh.
So the 3 of you are now alone in this aluminum factory. What are you doing?
Wishing I would stop forgetting about luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do still have 2 luck points apiece.
Oh.
Boy,
Can you explain how you use luck?
Yeah, so luck is essentially it's a limited resource. You'll never get it back, but you can use it at any time on any roll to either take a 12 automatically on a roll or avoid all harm from an injury.
I wish I would have realized that too.
Yeah, no, as I took the 3 harm, I was like, ooh, wow,
Yeah.
because I'm unstable with
Yep.
1 thing left.
Magnus, I think you are like legitimately like to the point where you cannot move.
No,
Like,
yeah.
you're just laying on the ground at this point.
Yeah, if I bleed out anymore, I'm dead.
Yeah. Gillis, you see Magnus looks rough. Bix, you see that as well. And you are both clutching gunshot wounds now.
Mm-hmm. Did mine, it went through? Is
Yeah,
just
it went
okay,
through.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's really fucked stuff up in there, but
Oh, yeah.
it did go through.
Where was mine?
Did you get shot?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
He got shot.
Oh,
Both
sorry.
of us got
Okay.
shot.
Okay.
yeah.
Then
You
I
get
actually,
shot
I do.
and
I
almost
wanna,
die.
I want to use luck, one of my
Okay.
lucks, to do another healing.
Okay, so you're just going to use magic and roll as if it was a 12.
Yes.
Cool. Then, okay, then I think here's what happens. Would you read me your luck thing underneath the Pararomantic special?
When you spend a point of luck, also mark off one of your relationship status boxes.
Okay.
The keeper will bring Fate of Your Love into play.
Okay, so I think here is what happens. You walk up to Magnus. You're doing that same thing you were doing earlier. You're just kind of like drawing water out of whatever. And Bix, you're seeing this. I think for the I guess the second time.
So I was like,
it's not a fluke.
Oh, so this is okay.
Your entire worldview just shifted.
And you just spread this like sort of like space-like water out across Magnus. Magnus, you are healed for 2 harm.
Hey.
When this happens, because I'd like to also use a luck.
Yeah.
Because Bix is holding on to his arm, but this is the arm that has the ring on it.
Yeah.
Like, I think seeing the magic also kind of, I want it to kind of like trigger something in him a little bit. Because when Bix uses Lux, he could decrease a wound he has to 0 harm.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that's a good thing to do right now.
You can, but that's only when you take when you receive a wound. Like if I say, that gunshot wound was 3 harm, you can say, well, I'm spending a luck point, so it's actually not.
So it has to be in that moment.
It has to be in the moment.
Okay, shoot.
But you could, if you just need an immediate heal, you could use magic to heal yourself.
Oh.
And just instantly call it a 12, which allows you to heal 1 point.
Yeah, and then with use magic on a 12 plus, it does something fancy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd like to...
Well, only that's advanced.
Oh, this advanced thing, I keep not...
I would like to do that, because I also think narratively that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what... Bix, you've never used magic before in your life.
I think he's...
What does it look like?
He's seeing this happen, and he's, like, freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
But as he's freaking out, like, it also seems, like, soothing in a way. It's, like, a weird... And it kind of feels similar to when he was like playing his horn out on the lake. It has a similar kind of vibe of like this is supposed to be happening, kind of thing. And he feels his ring get real warm, like warmer than it's ever been, but not like uncomfortably hot, just hot.
Okay.
And then like he feels like his shoulder kind of
heal over a little bit.
Like it stops bleeding, and it's just real sore. Like he's not like at full,
right,
but it's definitely not bad. Like he could move his hand again, and I think he's still real confused. I think he might think it's a little bit of what you just did. Like he thinks more like on you, but also like something's going on with the ring.
Yeah,
and I feel like he thinks you can manipulate his ring, because the last time he felt it get warm or cold was when you were looking at it.
Cool.
So I think at this point, because Bix has no reason to believe he's magic at all, I think he's being like, well, you're magic. You must be doing this.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So Magnus, you feel yourself kind of like come back together. You feel that wound in your leg kind of like heal up a little bit, and you realize you can walk now. You kind of put a little bit of weight on it. It doesn't feel great, but you're capable of walking.
Yeah.
Gillis, from outside, you hear Brody's voice.
What's it saying?
And it says, Gillis, they're coming this way. I need your help.
I mean, immediately, Gillis just books it outside to the lake.
Okay. Do the two of you follow?
Yeah, Bix has his trumpet and is just like, oh, now I'm in.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Sure.
For my sensitive move, since I'm opening the open your brain to the same environment, could I try and like contact the Loch Ness monster to warn it?
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that. Roll, which move is that?
That's plus weird. It just says roll plus weird, and I think I'm gonna take the 12, the auto 12.
Cool. All right. Be careful. You're all on your last luck point now.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If you take that last one, things are gonna get bad.
Yeah. It's a one shot.
Worse than it is. Okay. So, what is this like? When you go into your mind and you open this large wooden door, what waits for you on the other side?
I think as he opens the door, like water just comes rushing at him, and like as he like struggles to breathe, he like takes a breath and realizes that like he's fine and he can breathe, and he kind of locks up and he sees like the head of the Loch Ness, and he just says like, trouble is coming.
It's just I don't even if I may, I don't even think he sees the head. I think it's just a shadow in the water.
Yeah.
It's just this
like that
deeper shadow.
Yeah. And he just says like, trouble is coming. There's and then I kind of like describe the three of them,
Okay.
just so we don't get just seen as the trouble.
Yeah.
And I just say like, you're in danger.
Okay. Then as the three of you run outside, you see just in time for Peter and Marion, who are waiting for Sherrod. The three of them walk down the beach. And as Peter holds this harpoon gun out in front of him, the water begins to move away from him. And it is forming a, like, bubble around them as they descend into the lake by foot. Does everyone want to roll me act under pressure to catch up with them?
Mm-hmm. On my gimp leg.
12.
13.
8.
8. You roll the 6, Gillis.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to help out,
I do.
okay, it's an 8.
Cool.
Bigs.
You all make it down to the waterfront. Bix, you are the first one. The two of you are going to have to swim to enter this bubble, which is probably, I would say, probably a 20-foot radius.
Mm-hmm.
Bix, you made it. And you are in this bubble as it begins to descend under the lake.
Okay.
You just see this faint blue glow
Your brain
of-
is exploding. Right?
Yeah.
the harpoon in front of you, and you're just walking, and the ground beneath you, you just keep expecting it to be water, but it's just gravel. It's just sediment.
And I'm in the bubble with the three baddies.
They have not seen you yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are sticking to the shadows well enough.
Okay, I will continue to do that.
Okay.
And also try not to freak out.
Mhm.
And keep looking, hoping that these two will catch up
Okay.
with the swim.
Yeah, I think you two can catch up, but it is going to be loud, unless your brother can help you.
Okay. Yeah. Can he? Was he in trouble though?
You feel the water, both of you, as you rush after Bix. You feel the water kind of lapping up against your legs, and then you just feel it go completely still, and then you feel just one big wave just kind of twists around you without getting you wet at all, Gillis. Magnus, you see all of this.
Yeah. I think as we're getting to, I just throw my scarf on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab Magnus into the swirl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you both descend beneath the waves as well in your own sort of private little bubble.
Can I see this?
I think, why don't you roll me plus sharp?
It's a bubble for 2.
12, 13.
You definitely see them.
Okay.
You catch sight of them just as they enter the water as well. You are descending beneath Loch Ness.
Great.
And you walk for a while.
Wow.
This lake is immensely deep. The sun, which was already having trouble peeking through the clouds at the start of the day, has begun to set, and it does not penetrate this water very far. So pretty soon, you lose sight of it completely, and the only light that you can see is the faint blue glow of that harpoon. You hear Peter and Marion talking up in front of you, and they say, "I'm so excited for the press tour. I cannot believe that we have been given this opportunity. I mean, I prayed for it every day, but I didn't think it would come true." And Sherrod is just kind of quietly, just walking beside them. And Peter says, "Oh, Sherrod, here," and hands him the harpoon gun.
I think I continue to be quiet
Mhm.
because I'm terrified of Sherrod. Sherrod shot me. Now he has the harpoon.
Yeah.
Can I still see them in their bubble?
Yes.
Okay. I try to get their attention. I don't know if they could see me though because it's dark.
I think we can see at least
You
the
are
light.
in front of that light.
Okay.
So you might be able to cast a shadow.
So
that
I'm
will-
trying to wave at them to kind of be like just trying to communicate without any verbal anything. Like, help me, help.
Magnus and Gillis, what do? You see from the other bubble waving.
I think it would have to be on Brody. If Brody would be able to feel my energy, just to be like, let's get there as fast as we can.
This bubble just like kind of hugs the two of you, and then just starts like rocketing towards this other bubble.
It sort of tickles.
And I think it takes you a second to catch up, but then your bubble kind of like spears the other one, and you are just deposited wholesale into this other one.
Thanks, Brody.
And Brody starts like swirling around the outside. He's kind of like preventing them from going any further.
Ooh, excellent.
Go, Brody.
The three of them turn and they see the three of you, and Peter says, "Decided to join us after all?"
This is a lovely place you got here.
"Yeah," says Sherrod as he turns the harpoon gun on you.
I just smirk at the big red marker.
I think he's even still holding, like he's got one hand on the harpoon gun, this massive harpoon gun, and the other just clutching his throat.
I
hate
what to do.
I know.
Go for it.
I think Bix kind of does what he like it's a small space. He still has his trumpet on him. Like he wants to make a big sound. Maybe it'll like hurt his ears. Maybe it'll like just anything to make him try to drop the harpoon.
What is your weird, Bix?
-1.
Just go ahead and roll me plus weird.
5.
Okay, so mark experience.
Mm-hmm.
Would either of the two of you like to help out in this roll?
Yeah.
Why don't you roll me help out?
Both ways?
You can both do it, or you can wait to see what one of you does and then help out. Excuse me, help out.
Because if we help, it gets a +1, so it turns into a 6. So I think we both need to help.
Okay, do it then. Let's see. 7.
5.
Okay, so a 7 would give +1, correct? But it would put you in harm's way. And a 5?
I don't help, yeah. I'm not helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's what I think happens then.
Mm-hmm.
Bix, you blow on this trumpet as hard as you can. The most you've ever done. And you're still harmonizing. You're still making music. Even as you're just like trying to make this tremendous amount of noise. The two of you just cover your ears instinctively because it just is reverberating. The bubble is actually bouncing back and forth around you with the waves of sound. Brody kind of like backs up a little bit and then perks up and disappears, running away. As you see, the three of you see a shadow approaching from behind the other three.
It's my boy.
I need the three of you to roll me act under pressure.
Okay.
Brody would abandon me in time of
I didn't say he abandoned you.
act under pressure. God, 5.
7.
9.
Okay. Then here's what happens. The bubble collapses as a gigantic mouth takes a bite out of it. It literally bites Sherrod in half.
Yes!
His legs just fall to the ground, and water begins to pour in through this bubble. Marion and Peter both turn to see this thing, but before they can do anything, they're swept out of the way by this enormous black tail and deeper into the lake. You kind of see that harpoon gun spin out of Peter's hand in front of the three of you and roll to a stop. There is water coming in. Gillis, you feel yourself beginning to drown.
Okay.
Bix, what did you roll?
A 7.
7?
9.
9. Okay, the two of you have to leave right now if you want to make it back to the surface. You need to, you cannot take care of anyone else. You cannot grab a single additional thing. Leave now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just saw a monster eat somebody in half.
Okay.
Like,
Bix and Magnus, you two swim for the surface, and We'll come back to that. Gillis, the water floods into this area around you. It floods over the harpoon gun, and the sediment mixes up around you until you just can't see anything. There's just this cloudy water all around you. And you're calling out for Brody and just not hearing anything. There's just no sign of him. And you think back, you remember that moment with him, the last moment you had with your brother, the way you knew him. You remember him splashing in the river near your house. You remember thinking, well, that's nothing. He would yell, he would scream if he could. He would yell for us. If he needed us, he would yell for us. And you feel yourself now yelling, screaming, trying to make a noise, but nothing is coming out. The water is filling your lungs, and you feel like this might be it. And then the water around you changes. Just enough. Just enough that you know Brody is here now. And he wraps himself around you and whisks you to the surface, drawing the two of you up with him as well, and throwing you into the air in the middle of the lake. And surprising the hell out of Adler Fife, who rocks back in his boat and with a group of people sitting in the other side and says, "Look, this creature!"
We're covered with seaweed. So
Yeah.
we're just like...
It's the Loch Ness Monster.
I'm looking at my trumpet just like, it's soaked.
Yeah.
This is, okay, this has been a day.
We fancy to swim.
You are all in the town of Inverness. You have made your way back after quite an exciting afternoon. There is no sign of Peter Kent or Marion Sterling or Sherrod, whatever he was. There's no sign of the harpoon gun. All of it seems to have been lost to the bottom of the Loch Ness Lake. What are you up to?
Where are we at again? We're in a bar?
I think you're at the Hog's Toe.
Oh,
I think you're
right.
gearing up for the performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was scolded by my bandmates for being for missing rehearsal.
What happened? We were waiting on you!
But I'm soaked, right? I'm still soaked?
I think you are still soaked, but you've had the chance to dry off on the drive back. You got a ride with Peter.
Okay.
You told him he could commandeer Sherrod's car, that Sherrod wouldn't be needing it.
Oh, there's Peter.
And he very carefully drove you back to the city of Inverness.
Okay.
We were waiting for you. What happened?
I got in a little bit of trouble. And I show them my horn is just kind of not great.
You can't break it's the horn. The horn's the whole part of the band.
I keep apologizing profusely, and I ask if I could borrow there's other instruments, just he's not as good.
Of course you can borrow another instrument here.
And he's just embarrassed and really confused because he doesn't want to tell them what happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't think they believe it.
Who are those two? And he points out into the audience.
There's some friends of mine who helped me get out of some trouble.
And Gillis is looking down.
They made sure I got back here, so I got them some seats because otherwise I wouldn't have been here. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it back. I mean, here, take this French horn.
Yeah, he takes that and he's still kind of rubbing on his ring okay. But it's warmer.
Yeah.
Than it used to be.
Yeah.
It's still and he's feeling calmer, but it's still it's a different kind of frazzled. He's trying to take everything in, and even though it's bonkers, it also still kind of feels right.
Yeah.
It's a very strange mix of feelings. And he's like, well, I guess French horn tonight. All right, here we go.
Bix, you play your heart out. You play the best performance the band has ever given. And in fact, Someone in the crowd happens to have seen you, someone from London, and they invite you down to continue your European trip.
Oh.
They say, "Oh yeah, I mean, can't keep you up in here in Scotland. You got to come down to London, and then we'll take you to, Dublin, and that's where I'm from. And then we'll take you to, we'll go to Berlin. Nothing crazy's happening in Berlin right now in 1938.
Would Bix know any of that?
Magnus, you are sitting in the office of William Fraser. It is the next day. He has sort of heard from Peter a little bit about what happened, but I think the details are still completely unclear. And he says, "Well, I mean, did you fix it? Did you stop the those two?"
I don't think you'll be hearing from them again.
Well, good. That's what I asked. Good. Excellent. Good work.
You should give him a promotion.
Peter?
Yeah.
He crushed the car!
Yeah, but he saves our lives.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll think about it. Who are they? And he kind of like leans out the door to look at Bix and Gillis, who are sitting in the lobby. Friends of yours?
I don't think that's in your pay grade.
All right. Gillis, where do you meet up with Brody next?
Well, I think the next time I go to the lake, I've lost all sense of Brody's presence.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like the first time that doesn't like quite bother me because he's left before. But then it's just, even when running water or washing my hands, I've stopped feeling him.
Yeah.
So I think Gillis... I think Gillis thinks that Brody's gone.
Yeah.
Gone. So that, I mean, it's kind of... She's kind of entered into just a very somber couple of days.
Then I think you hear a knock on your door at your university dorm. Why are the two of you there?
I'm there. Bix is there to kind of thank her for healing his arm.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think even in the car ride back, like you managed to get a little bit more magic out of that and heal it up enough that Bix could play that night.
And just I think thanking somebody for that in particular, especially now that it's a proper European tour,
Mm-hmm.
it's the right thing to do. And I think he it's he wants to thank her for everything. Yeah.
Magnus, why are you there?
I'm here to offer her a job.
Okay. You sit down in your little entertaining room. And what do you say, Magnus? How do you pitch this?
So, you have a friend who's also special, right? I mean, we saw it. I work at a place that helps research and protect people like your friend. And if you come and work with us, we might be able to help your friend a little more and protect people like your friend who need help.
You can maybe find lost friends.
Aye. I need to get to work with me.
I'll think about it. Which, for Gillis, that's like, yes.
It's great because no one really likes working with me.
You're not half bad.
I tend to scare people.
Well, yes, you do, but then you grow on people, so at least.
Bix toots his little romantic tone. Just teasing.
Do you offer this same gig to Bix?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What does Bix say?
Well, I mean, I have my gig. If I can, as long as I can still kind of play with my band, and I could hang out. I mean, you fixed me, so thank you for that.
A lot of that was you, though. Believe it or not.
I think you're more special than you think. Just giving that a really piercing stare.
I don't think Bix doesn't know how to deal with that. He just like holds on.
So you're scaring him again.
I'm sorry.
But I would like to see more stuff. I think that'd be good. And then he also he kind of like remembers. He's like, oh, and he like pulls out the bottle. He's like, this was at that place, and he kind of like puts it down. I was like, I've never seen that before, but I figured if you deal with weird stuff, this is a weird thing. I don't know what to do with it.
Is it like full?
No, it's empty. There's a knock at your door.
Or I guess Gillis goes to answer it.
Peter is standing outside. The good Peter.
Okay. It's like,
And he's looking kind of lost. And he kind of like looks down at a piece of paper and then looks back at you and says, I think I'm supposed to be here right now. Does that make sense to any of you? And then without warning, his eyes and mouth and ears all start emitting this white light. They just open as wide as they can go, and he just starts projecting this white light, this searing white light on every surface. And from his mouth, you hear, whoa, 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 welcome to Turntable! And that's where we're going to end.
what?
Thank you for watching Monster of the Week on QueueTimes. I have been your keeper, Sam Richardson. You can find me on Twitter at Laggardson. Thank you. Laggardson. You can also find me here every Tuesday on Hijinks Handlebars alongside Franny and our good friends William and Jonas and Chris, who's recently joined the main cast. You can find all of our previous episodes in a playlist on the main QueueTimes YouTube channel, which you can access by typing in bit.ly/handlestream, capital H, capital S. Also, if you like Monster of the Week, I have GM'd an entire campaign for QueueTimes before now. It is set in this same world, though things are more modern. You can find that by typing in bit.ly/fightthemonsters with a capital letter at the beginning of each one of those words.
I'm Mackenzie Jennings. You can find me at KenZy Jennings. And I am starting up a small little D&D stream called Do Not Revivify. You'll find that on my social medias, where I will be running some people through a D&D campaign. That actually starts tomorrow night at like 5:15 Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on right now, and I was really excited to come and play with you, and thank you for inviting me. This was so much fun.
I'm so happy to have all of you on.
I have been Franny, playing Gillis Anderson, and as Sam mentioned before, you can find me.
Is that a play on Gillian Anderson?
You know what?
Did you just catch that?
Yes!
And and when I first came up with the name, I wasn't thinking that until it was like today on the way here.
I caught that the first time we were texting about that.
That's crazy.
But it must have been like a subconscious thing.
Yeah,
because I love her.
That's wild.
So yeah. Hijinks and Handlebars, I'm on every Tuesday. And you can find me on Instagram at JUST_FRANNIE, and then on Twitter with the same handle except with a K at the end.
Hi, I'm Starlene Hodge. I played Bix tonight. This was amazing. Thank you so much. You could find me on Twitter at StarleneX, spelled StarlineX. And you can find me on Instagram as Starline, spelled the same way, Starline. And I also draw a webcomic about witches in Los Angeles in modern day times. It's at rubywhipple.com, Ruby spelled with an I.
Y'all, it's really good. Go check it out. That is going to be all for us tonight. Please tune in next week to Hijinks Handlebars and go stream Glass Beach or go buy tickets to their concerts if they are coming to a city near you. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.